Let's start with a simple question. Is a woman the most important thing in a man's life? Should a woman be the most important thing in a man's life? Well, we're being battered and badgered into a situation where people are telling you the answer is an unequivocal yes. The most important thing in a man's life is and should be a woman. I posit to you something different. You see, the most important decision a woman will make in her life is the quality of man that she chooses. But the most important decision a man will ever make in his life is his purpose in life, because this will determine literally everything else about his life. And I submit to you all tonight that Will Smith just threw his away for a woman. And I have to ask this question again. Was this woman worth it? I want to show you something, and then I want to tell you something. I want to show you the requirements to join the Motion Picture Academy, where you get your Oscars from. I want to show you this because I want you to understand something here. What does it require to join the Academy? What does it take? Because you see, if people are going to tell you got to risk it all, then you need to know exactly what it is this person had to do and what it is they had to give up for these people who are going to sit on the internet and applaud you. But understand, you have to work a long time. Understand something, you have to work a long time. You can skip down to the part here about how. And by the way, this is on Oscars.org. You can go and check that out if you want to there. I'll post the link in the chat room there for you. If you like some interesting reading, it's very brief. You skip down to how. How do you become a member of the Academy? The Academy's membership process is by sponsorship, not application. So for those of you who didn't know, you don't ask. Candidates must be sponsored by 2 Academy members from the branch to which the candidate seeks admission. Additionally, Academy Award nominees are automatically considered for membership and do not require sponsors. Try that one. Nominees and sponsored candidates are reviewed by branch committees, and recommendations for membership are considered by the Academy's Board of Governors. The board decides which individuals will receive invitations. Membership review takes place once a year in the spring. The current cycle deadline for candidates was January 7th, 2022. I'm not sure who Will Smith's sponsors were. I don't think he was just allowed to join. I don't know who his sponsors were. That's not information I've been able to check into and whatnot. But I will tell you, for most of the people in the Academy, most of the people in that audience and whatnot, they had to go through a process to get there. They had to go through a process to get there. You didn't just get to walk in the door. And I want you to understand, with all the work that it takes, all the work that is involved, all the years to be taken seriously to get to a point where you can be nominated for Best Actor, that takes a long damn time to get in that position. You don't just walk in the door and get there. And if you are going to have to give that up, it better be for the right thing. Because what makes her happy might not make everybody else happy. And if a woman is your purpose for existing, that's fine. But what if that woman costs you your purpose for existing? What if being with this woman cost you that? For those of you who are not aware, about an hour ago, little over an hour ago, Will Smith announced that he was resigning from the Academy. Now, the Academy has never in its history stripped somebody of an Oscar. They haven't stripped Roman Polanski. They've never stripped anyone of an Oscar. But in Will Smith's case, very clearly somebody flew him the kite and let him know, sir, they are considering expelling you from the Academy over this. So you can resign or you can get kicked out, whichever one you choose. So for those of you who are unaware, within the last hour, this breaking news, they flew him the kite to let him know we're considering either suspending you or kicking you out altogether. Somebody must have let him know, dude, this is tilting way more towards kicking you out. And by the way, Bill Cosby is among that alumni. Roman Polanski, Harvey Weinstein, of members who have been expelled. And you have to ask yourselves a very simple question that I asked you a few days ago here, and it made a whole bunch of folks mad when I did. Where are those people now? Was this woman worth it? For all the folks who were egging it on and talking about, well, sure, that's absolutely the right thing to do right there. Absolutely it is. Where are those people now? Will Smith went broke at least 2 times in his life and clawed his way back to success, which for a black man is a monumental Herculean task, and yet he did it. Regardless of how he did it, he did it. And now, after all these decades, all that work, after all of that sacrifice, after all of that, what do you have to show for it now? I ask a very simple question because the mob that he thought was going to redefine protection, he thought they were going to be able to save him. He thought that all the folks who tune in to Red Table Talk were going to have his back, and that was going to be all there was to it. He bought into the hype. The mob that he thought was going to redefine protection to mean throw yourself in harm's way to make sure your woman doesn't feel the slightest ounce of displeasure in life, they aren't going to do anything to help him now. What are they saying now? What are they saying? Huh? I'll show you what they're over there saying. Yeah, they're over there with the lips poked out now. Oh man, that messed up, man. That messed up. They would make him. He got to resign like that. Damn, Will, that's messed up, man. That's what they're doing. All the folks who talked him up, all the people who were talking big days ago, all the people who were doing that, you can't find them now. At least nobody who matters. All the flunkies and couch potatoes watching Red Table Talk, they're worthless and useless here. All the folk talking crap and trying to rationalize it, none of those people who were trying to rationalize it have been able to save his ass. None of them. Everybody who talked him into it and said it was a great idea, none of them are able to save you now. That's the reason that a man stays in control of his damn emotions and his damn hands. Because if you make a woman your world, if you allow your world to revolve around a woman, then by definition, you are going to allow your world to revolve around her emotions, which are subject to change from half an hour to half an hour. You cannot allow that to be the basis by which you live, and you cannot allow that to dictate your world. Your purpose has to dictate your world. You have to know who you are. And you are the one who defines what, quote, protection means. And it cannot be dictated by her feelings or her whim. Because if you allow that to be the standard, get ready to self-destruct. If you all understand what I'm saying here tonight, hit the like button for me and give me the thumbs up emoji in the chat room. YouTube is going to try to keep the numbers down, and this program tonight is going to upset a lot of damn people. They're going to try to bury this program tonight for real, because this is the fallout that I predicted was going to occur if the events were actually legitimate. And now, I'm here to tell you, it's starting to look a whole lot more legitimate. Things are starting to look hella real. Unfortunately. And I'm asking you all the same question that I've been asking all this time. I'm asking you here, to anybody who's talking about, you need to protect him. If she is offended, then protect her. We went from protect life and limb to protect her honor to protect her ego. Was this woman worth this? All the people who were caping before now, you need to stand up and explain to the world, was that woman worth this? All you folks that you didn't have an Oscar to lose. You didn't have a film career to lose. You didn't have 30 years in the tank to lose. You're sitting at home on damn me Twitter. What the hell did you have to lose? You know the ironic part? You had about as much to lose as she did. She has never been considered for an Oscar, will never be considered for an Oscar after this. Yeah, maybe you think she was perfectly fine. She was cackling her ass off after he did that. Tell me if they're laughing at the Smith house tonight. Tell me how much laughter there will be at the Smith house tonight. Tell me how much giggling there will be tonight. Will Smith's career was already on the rocks before now. Tell me how easy it's going to be to get a new gig after this. Yeah, you sat up here and played the world's greatest simp. Kept her happy. Was it worth it? I was the first and only person who was asking this then, because I saw what the potential ramifications of all of this were, and everybody was talking, people who were sitting there playing this, there won't be any problems. There's not going to be any fallout. If Chris Rock don't press charges, and if the Academy didn't do nothing that night, ain't going to be no fallout. And I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about? Of course there's going to be ramifications if this is legitimate. Well, this looks like the legitimate train is making its way toward the station. And I want to know, where are all the people who were talking before now and saying that this was a great thing? This isn't entertainment, damn it. This man has worked for decades to gain legitimacy. He's worked for decades to gain that, and you've allowed a bunch of internet trolls to sit up here and tell you it doesn't matter what you have or what you lose. And then going to tell you there, we're going to redefine that as protecting women. Let's be very, very clear. Some of them can't even stand by their own damn crap. You're going to allow people who are at a lower level than you to sit up here and give you marching orders. Ayanna Pressley, a damn congresswoman, sitting up here talking about, I thank you, Will Smith. Really? Where in the hell is this cue ball going to be at now? Is she going to, what is she going to do to help him now? All these folks who talked him into this. All these people who talked him into this. People, this happens to men, whether you making $5 an hour or $500 million a year. The people who will talk you into a mess ain't gonna lift a finger or do a damn thing to get you out of it. She's sitting at home with her simp, cheering you on. Yeah, because you're the only one who's gonna face consequences. That was what was wrong with anybody who was trying to congratulate him for doing this. Dude, this is going to take you literally 1/5 of a second to commit this act. And you will be living with the consequences for the rest of your life. And all the folks who big up you and egged you on, none of them are going to have to deal with this. They ain't got an Oscar to lose. They don't have a film career to lose. They don't have an agent to lose. They don't have a public image to have destroyed. You do. And the real problem with men in his position is they sit up here and allow themselves to get attached to people who have not a damn thing to lose. They don't have anywhere near the amount to lose that you do. Beyonce would have as much to lose as Jay-Z if Jay-Z did that. Jada ain't got nothing to lose. Her movie career has been over. She's not the breadwinner. And we wouldn't know who the hell she was today if she wasn't married to this man. And YouTube is trying to suppress my numbers here tonight. Y'all make sure you go ahead and share this and like the program. They're trying to suppress the numbers, but we're talking something serious. We're talking something serious. Now, I'm going to tell you there are times when you put it all on the line. But it takes a certain type of woman, and damn me, this ain't it. There are times, there are women you can put it all on the line for. There is a time and a place and a woman that you do that for. I've always asked the same damn question. Is this the one? And why? Why did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? Very simple. Because you have somebody who did not understand what they were really dealing with. You have somebody who's been sitting in somebody's shadow for decades now. You have somebody who didn't understand what the stakes really were. You had a young, naive man who met a crafty young female. And what I want to do is I want to give you a brief education tonight. Let me give you an education about body language. If you want to go back to when they first met, before she started with the hair stuff, you want to go back to when they first met. Take a look at the body language in these pictures. I can go even further, by the way. Take a look at the body language. Take a look at how you look next to Tupac. And then take a look at how you look next to Will. Take a look at that. Are we sitting there like, tell me if it's the same energy. You think that man didn't get enough of looking at that? Tell me if it's the same energy. Picture number one, picture number two. Remember, I've taught you about a woman who's either standing distant. In that first picture on the left, there's so much room between them, you can slide a toddler between them. Second picture, she looks like she's trying to push him away. Third picture, take a look. She got a barrier between her and him. Third picture, she's literally got her arm between. He's got his arm wrapped around her. She has her arm braced in between herself and him. And by the way, you can keep looking. If this gives you the same energy that does with Ciara and Russell Wilson, yeah. By the way, you all can go and Google this all damn day. It ain't gonna get better. And even when she was younger, you can see, take a look there, got his arm, her arm is all the way down here on the damn ground. All the way down here, she has a grin on her face, but I submit to you, take a look at her expression with Tupac. The eyes are the windows to the soul. You tell me, because one of these pictures to me says, I am here for the cameras. The other picture says, damn, I am happy to be here with this man. You tell me which picture it is. Take a look at those eyes. You tell me which one is giving that type of raw jubilance, not even raw sexual energy, raw jubilance. One looks like an actress, the other one looks like a fan. One looks like an actress, the other one looks like a fan. She was a fan of Tupac. You can see she has never been a fan of Will. Never. And I would suggest to you here that as the years have gone on, he's had an opportunity to make some comparisons. Year after year, decade after decade. And I suggest to you that he's seen similar energy. Year after year, decade after decade. When you go through their images, you start seeing similarities. You just don't see similarities between Tupac and Will. You see similarities between Tupac and some of these other folk. Take a look at the body language. Oh, to all the stands and all the people out there splaining and caping. Yeah, you're not going to be able to splain this away. You can see the raw, affectionate energy. You can see where she focuses that at on a regular damn basis. And I submit to you since day one, he's never been a beneficiary of that. At the beginning, it's like, okay, she presents very well. She's very intelligent. She ain't out here getting into a bunch of mess and getting arrested and stuff like that. Okay, this will be one for us to slide with here. But as time goes on, you're saying to yourself, you ain't never really smiled at me the way you did with them. You never really hugged up on me like that. You've never had the expression on your face. The devil is in the details. The devil is in the details. And you can see the devil and the details all over this son of a gun. You can see the devil and the details everywhere. There is a woman that you put it all on the line for. Is this the one? There is a woman that you do give up your accomplishments and your accolades in this world, and you become a pariah for. Yeah, there is a woman you do that for. Is this the one? To all the folks who've been out there splaining, to all the Twitter twits, I've asked the same damn question over and over again. Okay, you can splain all you want to. At the end of the day, only one question matters. Is this the woman? Has this woman earned you losing it all? Is this woman worth you losing decades? Decades of your life's work, decades of accomplishment. Is she worth that? Because the folks on Twitter who don't have an award to lose, they don't have any prestige to lose, they don't have any status to lose, they'll be perfectly fine talking you into a damn trick bag. They have no problem doing that. They ain't got nothing to lose. As a man, you're supposed to be smarter than this. And it's a sad commentary to see this, especially from a guy who up until this point was the picture of discipline. He was the picture of purpose. He was the picture of resolve. You figured that this is a guy who gets it. And what he demonstrated is that when a man allows women to not simply be his companion, but he allows her to be his purpose for being, that she tells him that the world means whatever I want it to mean. Fellas, ladies, a man cannot allow you to lead him. He cannot. He simply can't. if he tries it, if he allows you to take the wheel, you will end up destroying the both of you. And I want to ask you all one more question here right now. And I asked this a few days ago, but by the way, now that the fallout is continuing to fall, gotta ask you all a question now. How many of you are confident that if Will's stock continues to tank, if Hollywood continues to do what we know they can do, if they decide you're just too much controversy to deal with and Will pass, because Will's been trying to get back on the horse now for years. The Academy Awards is where you go when your movies ain't really making money like they should be, except in the special effects category. He's been trying to get back on that blockbuster train now for a minute. But if Will winds up losing his prestige, if Will winds up losing his producer ability, if that happens, how many of y'all are willing to bet that Jada ain't gonna go and test her options? How many of you are gonna sit here tonight and commit to saying Jada gonna stand by her man? How many of you? How many of you are going to sit here tonight and stand by your words and say, oh, she ain't going to go nowhere. She ain't going to sit up and try nothing else with nobody. No, Jada ain't going to do that. Jada's solid. She ain't like that. Jada ain't going to do that. Why, Jada going to stick with, she been with him all this time. Jada going to stick with, if he lose his money, she going to be right there. How many of the bootlicks and flunkies are going to commit to that? Because if you were attaboying them and egging them on, you got to commit to all of this, including the consequences and what can happen next. You got to commit to all of that. How many of you, if you were with Jada, you would be willing to commit and say, oh no, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going to be right here. She's solid. She ain't going nowhere. She going to be right here. Whether I got the bag or whether I don't. No, I ain't worried about it. No. Not a problem. No, Jada going to be right here. She going to be cool. She ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I mean, I know she be kind of winking at dudes. She ain't going nowhere. She know who Big Papa is. Okay. All right. There are a number of villains here, but I will suggest to you now that probably the biggest group of villains are the individuals who are now deadly silent. Last time I showed you the hashtag protect black women. This time I'm showing you the hashtag I stand with Will. Understand something. These are the people who Jada was listening to, and those are the folks that she figured, well, don't worry, I'll be okay. Does every woman deserve protection? Does every woman's honor deserve, quote, honor? Are there women who do not have honor worth preserving? Do you, quote, protect black women? Do you protect a woman no matter how she treats you? Because I want you to understand, we got some max simping going on with dudes talking about it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how she treats him. He needs to, quote, sit up here and risk every damn thing he's got. No matter how she treats him. So that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. None of that matters. Just get out there and treat her like she's the best thing in the world no matter what. Really? I'm going to open up the phone lines here in a few moments, and I want some folks who want to say here that he still did the right thing. I want to find the people who say that he still did the right thing. That's who I want to find. I'm going to open up the telephone lines here in just a minute. And for my mods, anybody who says that he still did the right thing, I want to bump them to the front of the line. They get to go to the front of the line. And I want somebody to explain to me, do you still believe this was the right thing, that this was the right call? Because I'm taking a look at the way that things are going, and what I'm saying is, folks, if this is legit about resigning from the academy, if that's legit, just understand it opens up everything else from there. That's not a little thing. It opens up everything else, because you don't do that unless you got the message that, yeah, it was going to go down and it wasn't going to go down in your favor. You don't do that unless you got the message that things went down, things were going to go down, and it wasn't going to come down in your favor. That you might have thought this was a minor thing, but they're like, oh, you know what? We want to thank you for playing the bid, and we can make an example now. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying, believe it or not, what I'm saying right now is offending a bunch of people. It's offending a bunch of people who were set up here and they've been egging them on all this time. You know why? Because you sit up here and let the damn Twitter twits talk your ass into a mess. They don't have anything to lose. The quacky feminists don't have anything to lose. Jada Pinkett's audience doesn't have anything to lose. The folks who tune into her internet program on Facebook, they don't have anything to lose. The only person who had anything to lose is the person that she was sitting up here congratulating and egging on. And now if he loses it, you got to understand something. I want to tell you all one more thing. Let me tell you one more thing about this also. When you have a woman who sits up here and she laughs at the worst points in your life. Oh yeah, we're going to go super deep on this. You protect her no matter what she does? So the women are telling fellas today, you got to protect any audience no matter what she does. This woman on 2 occasions you can find here now. Once with George Clooney and at the Academy Awards after he did 2 things that reflect very badly on him, and she's laughing. I mean, laughing hysterically. She understood the ramifications of him going up there. And she laughed hysterically. You know why? Because the simple fact of the matter is she's looking at him like, you know what, nigga, I never did like you. I've always seen you as this squareball ass dude. I never did like your squeaky clean. Yeah, you think you and I are the same, but dude, I ain't got a taste for that. I don't respect what you've done. I'm entitled to. I don't respect that. I was gonna get me a baller no matter what. You're with somebody who appreciates your ability to produce, but they don't respect you as a person. She's like, look, you're weak and you're soft. You make a bunch of money, you got status, but you're weak and you're soft. I don't respect you. And if I had my way, I would watch you lose everything you got and laugh. Because I've been living in your shadow all these years. And I know you're weak compared to where I've been. Y'all, I want you to understand that's how she really feels. You can see it from everything she does, from the body language and everything else. I've been living in the shadow of this beta all this time, and I can't freaking stand it. I've never liked him. I've never respected him. It is truly a marriage of convenience. Yeah, he got the bag. He's always been driven so long as I'm standing there. I ain't never liked his ass. I've never liked him. You take a look from her behavior when a woman sits here and goes this hard body and this hard at work to undermine, to congratulate you. She's laughing at the moments when other folk are laughing at you. You do something dumb and she doesn't say, hey, we got to preserve the bag. She doesn't do any of that. She's laughing the whole damn time. She's at an age right now where she's like, I've been waiting decades to let you know what I really think of you. That's why she didn't say anything. August Alsina's out here, damn me, putting out damn singles about her. And when you go, by the way, if you've listened to Entanglements, that wasn't no joke. That was going for the neck on that one. Now, why in the world would she be making excuses for that? Because the answer is obvious. I don't fool with this fella like that. I don't like him and I don't respect him. I gotta sit here and play nice, but the truth is I don't like him and I don't respect him, and I've been living in his shadows, so at the end of his career, I would love it. All these people who've been watching me live in his shadow, I would love to see him fall. Do you still protect a woman who so obviously is not protecting you? By the way, even protecting you from yourself. Do you still go to the bat and, quote, protect women who will not protect you from yourself? She's supposed to be your helpmeet and your counselor. She's supposed to be the first one to say, hey, sit your ass down. You're going to mess up the bag. And she was like, you know what? Damn that bag. I've been waiting to tell you and show you what I really think of you. I've never admired you. I've never respected you. And I'm not going to go after you directly. No, that would give it away. What I'll do is put it in other people's hands. I will emasculate you and let other people do it. So you see, my hands, for the most part, look about as clean as they can be. I'll instigate this stuff and watch you get torn apart. I'm asking a simple question here tonight. Is this the type of woman that you protect? Are these the type of women, the type of women's attitudes that you protect? Do you sit there and still allow that to happen? Do you still do that and let them sit up here and gas your head up? Do you still do that? Do you still do it? The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. I'm asking a simple question here tonight. Are you required to protect women no matter how she treats you? That doesn't matter. As long as, quote unquote, y'all are married, you got to ride. Now, she can freestyle and do whatever she wants to, but as a man, you're obligated to do that. No matter how she treats you. And for those of you just joining us, if you want to know how high the price is of being a simp, it looks like we're finding out how high that price can become. And we ain't even topped out yet. We haven't even gotten a final result yet. We're not even there yet. For all the folks who are egging this on, for all the folks who are doing that, simple question here, where are you? Now that the heat's coming down, now that consequences are falling, was it still worth it? Was it? Okay. Telephone lines are filling up quickly here, so for all the slow pokes and late comers, you've been warned. I recommend you call in early. We're going to go ahead and take a few phone calls here. Let me get caller from area code 816. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace, big bro. This is Apex calling out of Honolulu by way of Kansas City, Missouri.
Apex out of Honolulu, what's on your mind?
To answer your question, no. Those type of women we are not to protect. However, I do stand with Will Smith.
Okay, exactly what is it you're standing with?
Okay. I believe I spoke with you earlier about this when it initially happened. Now, the disrespect that was levied against Jada Pinkett was disrespect levied against Will Smith. So inevitably, Will Smith had to defend him because by disrespecting his wife, you disrespect him. So it wasn't
true.
So much him. Okay.
Not true. And first, another thing here, folks, if you called in earlier this week, 1 call per week, not true. And that's a little line that's been bandied about as well. Here's the problem. If a woman has to earn your protection, if your protection is an entitlement that does not require any effort, sincerity, or work on her part, then what value is your name and reputation anyway? If you're a guy who just gives protection and provision to any old raggedy female, no matter how she treats you, then I submit to you here, you've already lost whatever status you think you have. People don't take you seriously already. Let's be very, very clear. Will was trying to save his own image. But in true beta cuck fashion, what he was trying to do, everybody, he was trying to pull off what he figured was his version of Tupac. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to pull off his own version of it. He was trying to basically, well, what would Tupac do in this situation? For the purposes of making this woman happy. That when he goes home, finally, I've shown everybody, I've gone out here in front of the damn world, I put it all on the line for this woman. I got my gangster on. Folks didn't think I could do it. I finally did it. Finally, she will accept me. She will finally give me that raw, sexual, jubilant, enthusiastic energy that she gave him and these others. Finally, I'll have it. And I submit to you, Will Smith was perfectly willing to lose his money, his reputation, his Oscars, if he could finally get this woman to approve of him at the level that she approved of these other people. Now, we all recognize that is mommy syndrome. Now, we all recognize that. This is Freud 101. But you can see very clearly that's what he was trying to do. This wasn't about a slight to her. It was going to what you were saying. Well, he was standing up for himself. Problem. The time to be standing up for yourself was when August was at your damn house. The time to be standing up for yourself was when this woman goes on and on about Tupac. That was the time to be standing up for yourself. And I'm going to say something ultra controversial here tonight. But so damn well be it. If you're going to go in for a penny, you might as well go in for a... Sir, brake pedal. If you're going to go in for a penny, you might as well go in for a pound. I submit to you all that Will Smith would have accomplished a whole lot more by slapping Jada than slapping Chris Rock. If he really wanted to show the world that he was a self-determining individual. Because I'm telling you right now, when she was talking to him crazy, he let her talk to him crazy across the red table. If he was going to get gangster, that was the time to be concerned about his image, about preserving his status. That was the time. He slapped the wrong person. I'll let you have the last word.
Okay. Now, as far as the investment, we don't necessarily know how much Jada has invested into Will, but we can clearly see that Will is invested into her. So I can deduce that they both are invested into the marriage. Now, as far as the red table talk goes, I have a 5 to 6, 7-year-old daughter, right? I've learned more about women with my daughter than I have 30 years prior. And I say that to say, when I review the red table talk, I see a father figure talking to his daughter like, now tell me what you did. Please explain yourself. That's how I perceived it, because that's how I have conversations with my daughter when she messes up in school. You know, she kind of quivers under, and she might put on a bold face, but she know when daddy's talking to her. And that's how I seen the Will and Jada dynamic play out. But thank you, brother.
Okay, well, there's a problem with what you said. Very clearly, Jada, you can't say they're both invested in the marriage if Jada is invested 5 cents worth and Will is invested 95 cents worth. Let's be very, very clear. Will is pulling the freight. Will is the marriage. Will is the image. And there are a lot of fellas listening to me right now. You're in the same damn boat. You are pulling the freight. You are the marriage. You are the relationship. And you have been bullied and bludgeoned into thinking that your purpose for existing is to patch together whatever holes a female brings you. And I'm telling you, that's exploitation. Lack of accountability is at epidemic proportions today. That is the single biggest form of emotional and psychological abuse that is being heaped on men today, is complete and total lack of accountability. This woman is the portrait of lack of accountability. She said it to his face in front of the world. And I'm going to say something else. I'm going to say something else right now. Jada was daring him in this interview to finally put her in her place. Because you know what? Pac would have done it. Oh, hell, did I just say that? You damn right. Pac would have done it. A woman can't tell you to boss up. A woman can't do that. She's gonna punish you if you don't. Jada was, when a woman pushes you this far, she's like, I want to see what you're willing to do. I want to see if you're willing to lose it all. Lose it all doesn't mean your money and prestige. Lose it all means lose her. Which matters to you more? Your manhood or this woman? Women want to know whether they're the most important thing to you, because understand something. Once she realizes that she's more important to you than anything, she is immediately going to stop and start looking around to go see if she can find somebody else who they've got something going on that's more important than her, that they're willing to toss her overboard. She's looking for somebody who isn't sitting up here following up behind her, making her his purpose for being. Yes, Will would have gotten a lot more done if he had hardcore checked her. If he had checked her at that table, he would be in a different place right now. She would be like, well, you told me. She did that in front of the world. It's like, dude, what do I got to do to make a man out of you? Let her do whatever. Let her pack her stuff and leave. She would have, the respect he doesn't have now, he would have finally had it. Send her ass back to the streets, put her back out there like Rihanna. And by the way, yeah, there's another situation right there. Rihanna was a whole crap starter too, wasn't she? Had niggas at each other. Chris Brown and Drake. Nicki Minaj was at Meek Mill and Drake. You'll always have somebody trying to instigate that kind of thing, and they're trying to see how weak you're going to be. Yes, the strongest thing that a man can do is demonstrate through his actions, not his words, that she's not the most important thing, that it matters how you treat him. But then again, there are some folks here who may feel differently about that. By the way, if you called in Monday, hang up the phone. I want to keep the lines open here for folk who haven't called in. Let me get called from area code 321. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is Antoine from Orlando.
Antoine from Orlando, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I agree. And, I've seen this before because I ain't going to lie. I've been in this before, but luckily it happened to me at a younger age, not at an old age like him. And, I saw it on the red table. I mean, every man's seen it because probably every man been in that position. I tell men like this, if your woman's not in love with you unless she's so much on you, it's annoying. If your woman's not on you, that is annoying. She don't love you. And whatever she's saying is just words. You can look at the pictures that you show that she don't love him like that. You know what I'm saying? You're right. She was daring him. She wanted him to slap her in front of the TV like that. I remember one time this girl, she kept trying me, and I just snapped. When I snapped on her, she was super nice to me ever since that. Like, we got weird, toxic, I hate to say this, black women that really want that person, that want that. You know what I'm saying? You saw it on Twitter. Oh, protect black women, crap. And it's the same women that talk shit about black men all the time, talking about shit said or whatever the heck that crap is about black men, but all of a sudden it was protect black women overnight. Give me a break. These women are toxic. They're the reason why Chicago's a mess, because that's what all that Chicago shooting is some simp trying to look for the honor of a ghetto woman.
Well, I mean, if you don't have a purpose of your own, manhood is supposed to be a core foundation. You put an Xbox controller in a boy's hands. This is why you cannot allow single mothers to run nothing. They don't build men, they destroy them. You put an Xbox controller in his damn hands and a lack of purpose, and I will show you a wayward individual who will just stumble through this world, and when he becomes a man, he's immediately, with no warning, going to be demanded to express leadership qualities. Well, he doesn't have any. He's a great, big, huge boy, and he's going to be regarded as that. And when that happens, then he's a grown man, and he can see other people are being given respect at a level that he is simply not being given. That's what makes a fella snap. When he realizes, hey, y'all are not giving me the respect y'all give these fellas over here. Those folks, you're not giving me that. And he may try to sit around and act like it's okay, but one day he's going to spaz the hell out, which is what's going to happen. One day he's just going to spaz the hell out of nowhere. And it's like, okay, what the hell happened? He's been sitting on all this animosity of lack of respect all this time. His mama neutered him. His mother diluted his manhood down to nothing, turned him into a girl with male genitalia. So the girls are aggressive and the boys are docile until they get in the world and are shown disrespect. Then all of a sudden, he doesn't have any type of masculine control on that. So he just breaks wild. And let's be very, very clear, Chris Rock was a crime of opportunity. This never would have happened. We can go down the list of G'd up comedians. They could have said anything, or a white man, by the way. So just understand, you sit on that long enough. One of the lessons I want the young men listening here tonight to understand, and no, it's not about being Ike Turner, but do understand something. When you allow those microaggressions, that's a term I want you all to get very, very familiar with as men. When you allow a female to start expressing these microaggressions, where first she's acknowledging you as the leader and the man and this, that, and the other, and then it starts shifting and changing. It starts changing first. Like anybody who's ever talked to anybody who works in a prison, you know that one of the first issues that guards will look for is when you give the inmates an instruction and they don't immediately follow it. Teachers in a classroom, if people don't like the prison analogy, teachers in a classroom, when you give a student an instruction, hey, out of the hallways, you need to go to class, and they don't immediately start moving. Now, they haven't said anything to you. They heard you give them an instruction, and what they're showing you is microaggression. They're showing you defiance. Non-verbal, right, but they're showing defiance. What you do in that moment matters. That is not a situation where you just be like, oh, well, that's a moment right there. You are being tested. They're trying to figure out how far they can go with it. And as a man, you have an obligation to recognize it for what it is and not ignore it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. All the microaggressions are not going to be verbal or physical. You got nonverbal. A person just standing still. I'm talking about somebody doesn't have to necessarily attack you. They will let you know, I'm in rebellion. I don't respect you. You see, when they respect you, understand that when a person respects you, they are afraid of your displeasure because they do not want to lose your company or your presence. When they've gotten comfortable, they take you for granted. Then they start thinking they can abuse you however they want. And then they start telling you that you need to take care of them no matter how they treat you. Isn't that amazing? You're daily disrespecting someone, emasculating them daily, and then telling them they got to take care of you. There's nothing more emasculating than having to carry and feed and clothe, to lavishly carry and feed and clothe somebody who is holding utter contempt for you. Caller from area code 917, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tony Breeze from Brooklyn.
Okay, if you're on speakerphone, you need to take your phone off.
I'm not on speaker.
Okay, are you in a broom closet, sir? You're reverberating a lot.
No, I'm not. I'm at work.
I'll give you a few moments to see if you can find another room to call us from here, because you're reverberating a lot here, and if he keeps talking, he's going to be saying a whole lot. I'll give you a minute to find another place to be, sir. Let me get called from area code 803. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
All right, and we do have...
Okay, caller from 803 is teaching community college classes. Caller from area code 602, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Did you say 602?
Yes, we said
Hello?
602. Put down the Hennessy. What is your name? Where you calling
All right,
from?
now this is Gigi, and I'm calling from Tempe, Arizona.
Hello,
Sunny
Gigi.
Arizona, baby.
What is on your
And
mind?
I just want to say this is my first time calling you. I would like to say I honestly think that Jada is a narcissist. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because I was raised by a narcissist. My mother was a narcissist. My father spoiled her to death. He spoiled all of us. But he made sure she had everything. And she was jealous of me because I was my father's only child. And she started acting like we were teenagers fighting over my own father. I was like, what is going on? She would do everything to just tear him down. He just kept trying to be that man that he is. And that's what Will is dealing with. I can see it. He's destroying her. I mean, she's destroying him. She's destroying him, and he don't know what to do. You see what I'm saying?
My concern with Will is that he may have already made the calculus that she's more important than his career.
Oh, no.
That is my concern. My concern with Will Smith is that he may have already made the calculus that this is all he's got. This is it right here. And that he's willing to abandon it.
That man that night?
Yeah, I mean, if he's made the calculus that she is his world, or this is the most important thing, or this is all he's got, if he's made that calculus, if she's got her hooks in him that deep, then yeah, that's my concern, is that he's already made the decision.
And narcissists are relentless. Like, they go to no end to have their way. They will not stop till you do what they till you do what they tell you to do. But see, I broke it. I would come right up against her mentally, just mentally move it out the way. They didn't know how to handle me, So I broke out of it. But my dad, he just loved her and loved her. And I just was like, oh my God. And that's what Jada does.
Certainly,
she put all his
having a daddy, being a daddy's girl, that can be a big problem. I'm glad you touched on that, because narcissism among the daddy's girls, they're spoiled, egotistical. Yeah, narcissists are very much built.
I didn't want to be like that. I saw what that was like, and I didn't want to be that, so I chose not to do that.
Well, I'm very glad you chose that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. Very good point about that. We're going to try to call her from 917 one more time here. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tony Breeze from Brooklyn. Can you hear me better now?
All right, Tony from Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
Jay, this is a lesson for all of us men. Honor those who honor you. You know, throughout this time, we've seen Jada disrespect him on all types of levels. She didn't have any stake in the game. You know, she did not care about his well-being. She showed disloyalty to him. Here's a question for everyone. If it was really that bad, which I think it was, but if that situation was really that bad, why did she stop him? If she really cared about him, why didn't she stop him from going up there to do that? There's another way to handle it. You could have handled it on the commercial break or the after party. You didn't have to do it right then and there. She doesn't care about him. She doesn't love him. Why do men proceed to get with women that don't love them and try to protect them, and then it's okay to ruin yourself with them?
Because we have a generation that has been conditioned to believe that women have a right to be treated better than you do. Let's just say it like it is. Everywhere you look, from the courts to TV to the media to social media, the society has adopted the idea that women have a God-given right to be treated better than a man does, than the man that they're with. Well, that's the definition of abuse. Hell, it's the definition of slavery is what it is. That's beyond abuse. That's slavery. But that's literally where we're at right now. We're literally at a point where the standard is, yeah, you're just a man. The women are queens, royalty, or at least you need to treat them like that. But the bottom line is, no, you're not. I don't have to treat you as well as you treat me. No, I can treat you like whatever, and you need to treat me better, period. That's it. You need to treat me better than I ever treat you. And now they're getting to a point where they're just outright saying it. Understand, the previous generation should have stopped that microaggression early. Well, Jason, what microaggression are you referring to? The one that said that women can hit men because, quote, you're bigger and stronger. Now, that wasn't even microaggression. But what I'm saying is somebody even articulating those words, that because you're a female, you can physically assault a man and he should take that. Well, because you're a man, you're bigger and stronger. Okay, but here's the problem. They don't give anybody a pass. Okay, so anybody except Kevin Hart? Oh, no, he's a man too. Well, he's not bigger than you, but he's stronger, but he's not bigger and stronger, actually. Well, he's still a man. The time to cut off that nonsense was then. That was the time to recognize that for what it was. Now you're at a point where they're telling you, yeah, you have to sit up here and treat them better than they treat you. She is not obligated to protect your image, your status. Hell, she will sit here and mock you along with everybody else. But you have to protect hers. If you didn't know better, you would swear that Jada was getting the Academy Award that night and not Will. Well,
yep.
I will tell you, based on recent events, he won't have to worry about that anymore either. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I guess he's going to have to get jiggy with that Oscar, because that's the last one he's going to get. There won't be any more summertime movies for him. So, for all of us, men, honor women that honor you. That's all I got to say. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. It sounds very simple, and it is very simple. It's common sense, but you've been conditioned to ignore your common sense. I'm asking a simple question here tonight. Do you protect a woman no matter how she treats you, no matter what she costs you? Take a look at what, quote unquote, protecting this woman was worth this? If you think she was, all the folks who were saying this a few days ago, if you still keep that energy, give us a call. Go ahead and give us a call and explain to us that she's still worth it. Telephone lines open. Let me get caller from area code 385. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Ray from Salt Lake City, Utah.
All right, Ray from Salt Lake City. What's on your mind?
Well, I really don't care about this $1 million shit. I just want to ask you some questions about something I'm going through.
Okay. In the link in the description, you're going to see a link for Patreon. Go ahead and sign up for that, and we can talk as much as you like. Folks, we're talking about this here tonight. If you got something else here, by all means, you can go ahead and sign for Patreon, or you can wait till a night when we're talking about something more general. Let me get called from area code 323. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, brother Jason? This is big brother Elijah calling out of Las Vegas.
Elijah out of Las Vegas. What's on your mind?
Jason, the question I'm about to ask you is going to be a little controversial, so I mean this to no disrespect and to for the B1 sisters in the audience. I mean no disrespect. My question to you, though, you are relatively older than me, and I've been seeing incidents nonstop of brothers producing, and sisters have that same mentality where I can talk to you or disrespect you any old kind of way, and brothers lose everything behind this. I need to ask you, historically, when did that begin?
Well, since the first female, long story short. So the laws of gravity dictate who are the hunters and gatherers. You have a planet populated with all types of species. Trees are not easy to cut down. We use those for resources. If you're going to use animal skin, you got to capture the animals. It's the men who do that, okay? The men do the heavy lifting that allows females to have the ease of life that they do. We're the ones who do the heavy lifting. Here's the problem. Familiarity breeds contempt. And when a woman starts to feel that she is entitled to your ability to produce, that's where you run bad. And right now you have a situation where social media, mass media the society has conditioned them to think that they're entitled, that they are entitled to men being subservient to them. Now, of course, the great irony there is that the moment that you become subservient to her, she begins to punish you for it. So they attempt to knuckle you under and then punish you once you do. So the bottom line is this is actually not new. What is new is 80% of the babies being born to bastard baby makers, to single moms. Now that's what's new. So you don't have men who are actually building anything that these young boys come into contact with on a regular basis. Because a man who's building something, he's already been through the knocks of life so that he sees, hey, your purpose in this world is not a woman. A woman can be a part of your legacy, but she's not supposed to be the foundation of it. You are the foundation of it. You're supposed to keep this thing ticking with or without her. And now we have a situation where they're telling you your purpose for living as a man is a woman. And the problem is all these Twitter twits sit up here and tell you that. And the moment you do it, they begin punishing you for it. Case in point. When Jada was looking for a side dude, did she go and look for a man on Will's level? Think about that for a few moments. If that was a requirement, then shouldn't she got access to all these dudes in Hollywood? Nicole Murphy been trying for over a decade now. All the fellas she got access to, and then take a look at what she did. Take a look at what she chose.
Yes.
So there's something to be learned from that in respect to what the man is worth. If she could have gotten another Will Smith, she would have gotten another Will Smith. The problem is the real Will Smith never showed her that she could lose him. Let me say something to y'all right now.
Yes.
Ain't no such thing as a damn open marriage for a female. Yes, I said that. There is no such animal as an open marriage for a female. Folks, we shouldn't even have to discuss this. When a woman opens her legs, she's serious on some level. If she isn't, then just understand her femininity has been rubbed so raw that she has lost her ability to be a female that you can join yourself to. If a female is able to have sex and it means nothing, then she's lost her feminine attributes. She's done.
Yes,
She's not
sir.
a mate. You can't do anything with a female who that doesn't mean anything. Well, why is that, Jason? Because if a woman can have sex with 2 other men and it means nothing, then how in the hell do you figure that all of a sudden it's gonna mean something when she gets with you?
Exactly.
So just understand, if your female is out here laying up with dudes, there's no such thing as an open marriage for a female. Now, there can be an open marriage for a man. And I bristle at that term open marriage, by the way, because I'm not with, polygamy and stuff like that, because it's a big ass mess.
Yes,
even in the countries that try it, that take a look at how they are, and then take a look at the countries that don't. There's a reason the ones that do it are in the shape they're in, by the way. For the folks who are trying to say that, by the way, take a look at the countries that practice polygamy, then take a look at the ones that don't. You can see a stark difference from how the society's turned out. But in any case,
yes, sir.
When a man's gonna be tied to his resources. He's gonna be tied to that. If a man doesn't fool with you, he's not gonna give you resources. A woman understands sex for the sake of sex is useless, or at least a sensible woman's supposed to understand that. So a man can say that, keep his resources wherever in the hell they are. A woman is the resource. Let me say that again.
Yes.
A man can take his resources to another woman. A man brings his resources and status to a relationship. He brings his resources and status to a sexual encounter. A woman, she is the resource. That's why it does not and can never work the same way. She's brought her resources they're supposed to be going to you. She's brought that to another man. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get called from area code 323. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Deborah from Los Angeles.
Okay, did you say Diablo or Deborah?
Wait a minute. Deborah from Los Angeles.
Deborah from Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
I was thinking, I was just picking up the tidbits that's on the internet and the airwaves. I'm basing a theory on this. Maybe Jada lost respect for Will as soon as she got married. When she found out that Tupac didn't bow down to Quincy, but Will might have did. I'm just throwing that out.
I mean, well, certainly there's any number of things. There's any number of things that could have caused that. It wasn't just one thing. However, there is one thing we do know for certain. When Jada had to take the measure of Will against other people at a basic level, she's like, you're successful, but you're successful as an actor, as an entertainer, but I don't feel you as a man. I don't feel you as a man. Now, yes, there's also an argument to be made that, by the way, she tends to gravitate towards, some gutter type stuff here. But the real bottom line is I'm a grown man. I've seen a bunch of things my whole life. In this situation right here, I've seen several situations where she was like, okay, she's testing that. Women can be simple-minded about it. If what she does is going to take a look at the alpha cues of Tupac. And if that's the best she ever had, if that's the best she ever saw, then what she's going to say is, well, damn, there must be something to the tattoos and the head rags and that little janky ass, crook neck swag. There must be something to it. If she gives somebody like Will a chance and she's like, okay, I'm looking for that raw masculinity. And if she's testing it and she doesn't see it, then women start making simple calculations. Well, there must be something to what them dudes are doing. Must be something to it. A lot of fellas today, because they've been raised by women, unfortunately, they don't understand what it means to have raw masculinity. Raw masculinity is when you are not doing what a woman tells you to do. When you're telling her, here's the program, and then you're letting her know, hey, I don't know where the hell you are, but the train's leaving in 2 minutes with or without you. And can anybody tell themselves that Will would ever go anywhere or do anything without this woman? Now, we know Tupac would, but can anybody tell that? And let's be very, very clear. A man doesn't request an open marriage unless he doesn't want you. Now, when a woman wants an open relationship, she's like, look, I really can't stand you at a masculine level. I got to have somebody else. And when you see people arguing for that, that's the real problem. So I'm talking tonight about treating women better than you treat yourselves. Do you really protect that? Will walked into this situation, I guess, trying to tell himself, well, she's still kind of pining for Tupac or whatever. And it's like, no, dude, I suggest to you all tonight, it's not about Tupac. It is about she's been looking for something on that level and she ain't found it. She found a guy who is not in danger of getting himself shot, but she has zero faith that he would that he would ever disarm somebody. She has no faith whatsoever that would occur. So these are basic protector provider cues. Will Smith is wonderful at making a living as an entertainer, as a basic man. Because I'm going to tell you all something else here tonight. Since now, in light of recent developments, okay, we're going to have to take the events that happened Sunday seriously, as in not staged, okay? If we're going to take it in that regard, then I would have to suggest something to you here. When this man, if you are going to go off and go smack somebody, and if you live to tell the tale, if you do go smack somebody and you live to tell the tale, this is not the proper response. Boo-hooing and crying. That's not the proper response. Jada was laughing. She wasn't laughing later. Let's be very, very clear. And then when you're sitting down, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. You sitting there and you're looking all shaken and he's looking all ultra emotional and, you know, his lips are sitting up there trembling. It's like, dude, you are completely melting down and losing control. His lips were literally sitting there trembling. That's not hard. That's soft. And I just want you to understand, that was the best version of Tupac that this guy can do. He ain't cut like that. And he's not appreciated by the one person he wants to appreciate him the most. He's not appreciated like that. So the question becomes, I want to ask you a question here, Deborah. Is he obligated to protect a woman like this?
No. And I remember at his farewell, his welcome speech at the end, he also said, well, you know, we do crazy things for the love of a woman. And I'm saying, yeah, he's having a meltdown, you know.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the wrong woman.
I'm not sure what he did to get into the academy. I'm not sure what he did to get into it. But I do know it's down the drain now. And all the folks who were talking about that they understood and it was okay and this, that, and the other, I want those people to stand up now. Was she worth this? Was whatever satisfaction he was trying to get, was it worth this? Because this was predictable. Was it worth this? Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get call from area code 267. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. How are you?
What is your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Kaswana. I'm calling from Philly by way of Webster Parish, Louisiana. I'm sure you know where that is.
Okay, Kaswana from Philadelphia by way of heading east. What's on your mind?
Webster Parish. Yeah. Okay. I was calling because, to be honest with you, I'm sick of hearing about this whole Will Chris thing, but I finally came to a conclusion yesterday. And but one observation I did make was, I don't know if you've noticed this too, or maybe it's just the ads crowds on my Facebook page, but I've noticed that a lot of women, particularly black women, are starting to live vicariously through the slap. Like, it's like the slap was a win for black women, or there was like a slap for every black woman that's ever been disrespected. And I mean, do you think, I mean, have you, heard that too, or maybe it's just me?
Well, that was my whole point when you saw that hashtag protect black women. Wait a minute, that's supposed to be protecting life and limb. Now we are gonna we're gonna stretch the word protect to if she is offended at any time, and that's why I said, where does it end? Are you now going to be required to slap the girl at KFC if they don't put ketchup packets in your bag? Is that because that's going to be next? You understand? And the problem I had with it here is,
I've seen worse.
Well, yeah, but here's the real point, though. The real problem is that's what we're seeing. I'm saying that my whole point was that's where it's going. I'm not being hyperbolic and I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
I'm saying that this attitude, the folk talking about that this, for number one for Jada, but for this right here, okay, a dude said something at an event. This wasn't on a street corner somewhere. This is at the damn Academy Awards.
Right.
And by encouraging that attitude, okay, but you're encouraging that attitude among people who have nothing to lose. Now, it is one thing when you're giving nothing to lose advice to people with something to lose. No wonder so few people, and in this day and age, men, they want the men to become producers and to develop their value, but you're giving them nothing to lose advice. That it doesn't matter where you're at in life, it's okay to at any moment to just throw it all away, being emotional. And what I'm saying is the females egging that on, none of them are well off. Most of them are single or single moms. So they don't have a man, period, much less have a man of the caliber and resources of a Chris Rock, much less a Will Smith. So you have females who have failed getting on social media, illustrating to the world why they failed.
And speaking of Will, this is okay. I didn't even know that you were going to go the Tupac angle with it, but where I was going to go with it was, I think, like just like you have to be coached into a character, you have to be coached out of that character too. And I think Will was still living out that King Richard role. I mean, because that acceptance speech, which really to me low key looked like a mini like Kanye, meltdown to me. I mean, but he started talking about how he had to protect Aunjanue Ellis, who played Venus and Serena's mom, how he had to protect the girls, and he finally got a taste of what it's actually like to protect his family, and he hasn't came out of that character yet. So that was
okay. But here's the problem: Regina Davis was making jokes about him earlier. I mean, that Will has been in the game now for a couple of decades. And what I'm saying is this was the culmination of all these decades. This wasn't the culmination of a night. He knows far, far better than this. You don't get where he is by not knowing better. What I'm saying is he found something more important than an Oscar. He found something more important than a film career. He decided that night that there was something more important. And what I'm saying, that's why I started the program by saying, is the most important thing a man's ever going to have a woman? If it is, then he did the right thing. But if you say that that's not the most important thing, then understand this is disaster. Because I'm just telling you right now, to all the folks who want to try to minimize this, we live in a day and age where people have been living on their damn cell phones. And they've been living through their cell phones so much that to them, that's the real world. So they watch all these events from a 5-inch screen or a 4-inch screen or a 12-inch screen, or maybe if you got a home TV, a 60-inch screen. Folks have been watching these things and they've gotten a screwed up image of life that what they see on the screen, that everything has the same level of reality to it. And the truth of the matter is, no, that's not the case. People who can change your life have standards. People who can change your life have standards. And when you bring the Source Awards or World Star Hip Hop to something like this, I'm like, dude, this better be staged, because if it's not, understand something. If it is not, the Academy loses face if they don't take action against you. Well, why? Because if they bring up Billy Crystal, they're not going to sit up here and tell you to tell them what to do. Let's be very, very clear. White folk are not going to tell you, let you tell them what they can say and what they can't say. That's not going to happen. So all the clowns on the internet living where they are, it's like, okay, you ain't got nothing to lose. And even if you do, nothing near the magnitude of a Will Smith. So they're not going to sit up here and let you take over their awards and then tell them, okay, here's how it's going to be. They're not going to sit up here and march out a white comedian like a Jerry Seinfeld, who, you know, when Seinfeld takes the stage, here it comes. They're not going to let you sit up here and take somebody of his stature and tell him, you better not say that or I'm going to get up and slap you. Okay. So basically you put them in a position where they have to take an action.
Do you think Will would have slapped Ryan Seacrest or Drew Carey or if the host was white?
Abso-damn. Let's be clear about two things that would not have happened. Because like I say, a lot of folks, I understand they're being emotional, and there's a reason why I have to be dealing with this from a logical perspective. Let's be very, very clear about two things that would not have happened. Number one, had this been a white man or pretty much anybody other than Chris Rock, Will Smith does not leave that damn seat. Period. He doesn't leave that seat. Second thing.
Right.
Everyone, if Chris Rock had made that type of joke about Tom Cruise's wife, would you all still approve Tom Cruise walking up and slapping Chris Rock? Would you all be on Twitter talking about, well, you know what, he could be better watch what he say, yeah?
Black Lives Matter talking about the woodworks again.
I'm just wondering, all the folk who were sitting up talking about, well, you know, he had you coming. So if it had been Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or Chris Hemsworth, if Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans strides up there and slaps Chris Rock for making a joke like that about Scarlett Johansson or about Charlize Theron, I just want to know, the folks talking about Will should have slapped Chris, so we gonna keep that same energy for Chris Hemsworth or any of the white actors, right? Because let me tell you right here, they'll be very, very quick. Let me tell you, Thor walk up there. I don't think you want to give that. I don't think you want to give that type of abilities to Thor.
Nuh-uh. They don't want the Thor smoke.
So I'm just saying, folks are not thinking these things through. But the bottom line is there are two things that one, I know for a fact wouldn't have happened. Will wouldn't have done that with anybody else. And number two, the folks talking about it was okay, I don't think any of them would have approved if one of the men I just mentioned did that. I don't think that would have happened. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Anybody who is calling from either a blocked phone number or an international number that cannot be seen, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm not going to take your call. So if you're calling from a number that cannot be seen, I'm not going to take the call. If your call drops right now, then you know you're one of the people I was talking to. So if your call drops right now, it is because I cannot see the number. Call back when I can see it. Caller from area code 252, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up? I'm this King Lewis from North Carolina.
All right, King Lewis from North Carolina. What's on your? Well, we're at North Carolina.
All right, so this is my whole take on the situation.
Okay,
right?
Where at in North Carolina?
Oh, my fault. Wilson, North Carolina.
All right, what's on your mind?
All right, you got to be careful about the way you handle situations and stuff like that. And I agree with you 100%. I feel like Will should take up for his wife, But this is a classic situation of it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And then whatever it is that he does, it should be in a way that benefits, you know what I'm saying, the way we look as far as black people in society, and as far as you being a role model and having people look up to you, and, you know what I'm saying, being able to set an example of what it means to be able to truly, you know what I'm saying, exhibit, you know, not letting another man get under your skin when everybody else is going through the same thing as what you is. Will Smith is not the only person that sat down in that chair in front of the Oscars and got joned on. That man has an occupation to be able to tell jokes, and you can't get mad at that man for what his occupation is. If you're willing to air out your dirty laundry to the whole entire world, and you put the world in your business, and you already obtained the life of living as a celebrity, this is what comes with that lifestyle. You have to be a core in order to address that as a man. You can't just go up there and stuff like that. What Will Smith should have done was, instead of going up there to smack the man, he should have waited until it was his time to come up on stage, and then took up for Jada in a way that was like, okay, I didn't appreciate what you said. I want to bring awareness to this disease that's going off, and, you know what I'm saying, make Chris Rock look bad, make him look good in the end of the service, because it's not even about Jada, it's about Will. And I feel like as a married couple, you do have an obligation to be able to take up for the one that you love, because when you make your vows in front of God, that's pretty much you know what I'm saying, that's pretty much what you're signing up for. But at the same time, I don't agree with taking up for somebody that won't do the same thing as you, because Jada would never take up for Will like that. And he's an overall simp to me. I don't respect the man. But that's just my take on it.
Well, let me be very, very clear about a few things here. To some of the folks in the chat room here, y'all need to understand the short bus kids with the dunce caps. Let's be very, very clear about something. A man is always supposed to be concerned about his image.
Right.
Let's be very, very clear. So some of you short bus kids in the chat room, a man is supposed to be concerned about his image. You are supposed to be concerned. You can't have respect without an image. If your image is raggedy and bummy, just understand your image and your reputation are what precede you before you walk in the door. So some of y'all need to take off the dunce caps and get off the short bus here. Some of y'all need to understand that, yeah, our image matters. Black excellence is not a slogan that just rattles around inside your empty head. There's a reason why we talk about Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He was majestic. That was an image. Malcolm, that was an image. Martin, Mandela, Winnie Mandela. We can go down the list. Coretta Scott King, that was an image. So for some of the short bus children sitting up here talking about your image doesn't matter, I don't, like I say, the folks who go to Walmart with their house slippers on, I know this is new to you. We got some new folks here. So some of the new folk been walking around. You're the folks who go to, you know, Ruth's Chris with your house slippers on and your bonnets on, and then can't figure out why it is that nobody really wants to be seen. Well, why can't I wear my bonnet? Okay. So let's just be very clear. Some of you have failed to mature, and you're not ready to navigate in a world where you lead, because you can't flip the script when you want to. If your image doesn't matter all the time, then it doesn't matter any of the time. You have to be the most vigilant person about your image. Now, there are some people you can't.
He's setting a role model. He's supposed to be setting an example.
Let's not talk over the host.
My fault.
We will respect my image. Now, there are some people that you cannot please no matter what you do. There are some people that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how respectable you are, no matter how clean cut, no matter how articulate, there are some people you cannot please. That ain't an excuse. Let's be very, very clear. You haven't articulated an excuse for dumbing yourself down. You haven't articulated an excuse for changing the modus operandi. Just, there will always be some haters in the room. That's always going to be some haters in the room. But let's be very, very clear. Your haters are not the reason that you disregard the people who love you being in the room. Some of y'all got it twisted and you let the fog go over your eyes. Yeah, there's a couple of haters watching, but you're not doing this for them. Some folks completely lost the damn plot. You're not sitting up here getting an Oscar for your haters. You're getting a Oscar for the people who rode with you, for the people who stuck by you. Those are you ain't even supposed to be able to hear nothing outside of that. You're supposed to have done, this isn't about the people who don't like you. You're supposed to be doing this for the people who got love for you. That's what's supposed to be at the forefront of your mind. Don't let somebody talk you into focus on the haters. Well, if the haters, man, damn a hater. Haters gonna hate. Your job is to shine. Let the haters hate all they want to. We came to do this for the folks who got love for you, not the ones who are hating on you. So no, I'm not concerned about the ones hating. I'm like, they doing their job. He's sitting over there hating. That's what he's supposed to be doing. I know he wishes I couldn't get here, but guess what? Here I am. And you gonna have to stand up and clap when I take this award just like everybody else got to do. Guess what? The ones who love me and the ones who hate me, all of you gonna have to clap when I get finished talking. All of you. But you see, you get that from your image, man. You get that from your image. And the problem that we have is this is the problem with not having institutions and legacy. When you don't have one to pass down, when you're the first one in, you don't have any real respect for it. Let me tell you something right now. I wasn't thrilled with Denzel Washington getting the Oscar for Training Day. He always does a great performance, but I'll be damned if you're going to give him an Oscar for Training Day and not for Malcolm X. But okay. But there's no way in the hell we talking about Denzel Washington, the cool. That is probably the baddest black man on this planet as far as actors are concerned. Denzel Washington is without peer. He is without peer. That man is excellence walking. He is excellent with feet. Period. So to have a situation where I'm sitting in front of Denzel Washington, look here, I'm about to be inducted to become one of his peers in the end. There's only one other in the damn room, Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think Morgan Freeman was there. Samuel L. Jackson is the only one of his peers in the room. That's it. But Sam does not have an Academy Award. So me and Denzel are about to elevate to a very rare fraternity. So I might not have the acting chops of Samuel, but I got an award. Sam's still trying to get his. Think about that for a few moments, that you're sitting there next to Denzel. This is going to live forever. That you and Denzel will both be acknowledged as peers. And you don't take that deadly as serious. How the hell can you hear anything else? I don't even see how you could hear anything else. With that man sitting beside you, it's like, dude, I came here tonight as your fan. I'm gonna leave here tonight as your peer. The Academy is about to acknowledge me as one of your peers. I'm going to be up there with Brando and Tom Hanks and the rest of them. I think Hanks has an Oscar. I'm going to be up there with all of them and you. So yes, you can add platinum plaques and an Oscar to my list of accolades. I'm about to go from being a fan. I watched you my whole life, and now I'm going to be a peer. How in the hell do you let somebody tell you that your image doesn't matter and you're sitting in front of Denzel Washington? Because what that says is you don't give a damn that Denzel Washington is sitting here. And I'm talking about what Denzel represents. I wasn't a great big fan of Sidney Poitier, to be totally honest, for other reasons. Magnificent actors, socially, But I mean, when we talk about Denzel represents the greatness of black theater. He represents that. He represents Morgan. He represents all of these icons we've been talking about for decades. Esther Rowley and the rest of them. I'm not going to run down the list. Y'all damn well know it. Alice Walker, the actress. Remember the ones who did the Delaney sisters? They were in the Matrix movies. I mean, we're talking about the mega titans. And when I see Denzel, when you see a Denzel or a Lawrence Fishburne, that's who's in that seat, is all that legacy and all that history. And what I'm saying is that if you don't take that seriously, if you're sitting there next to him and you don't take that seriously, then yeah, you don't need to be here. I'm going to be the most dignified thing here because I'm sitting next to Denzel. Dude, there ain't a damn thing you can do that touches us, man. We're deities. Denzel Washington is not a man. That man is a theatrical deity. Yes, I meant what I said. If they ever erect a religion to theaters, Denzel Washington will be the Amun-Ra and Osiris. So no, your image in that, you're next to him and you're not thinking about your image, okay? Because let me tell you something. I don't fool with people who are not concerned about how they look. I don't fool with people who are willing to walk in my house and are not concerned about how they look. I don't fool with people who are not concerned with their presentation. I don't really fool with people who can get easily taken off their square. Because what I'm saying is, if it was this easy to take him off his square this time, how easy will it be to do it another time? I'll let you have the last word.
I agree with you 100%, man. You're telling the truth. And you see, the thing about the whole situation, too, is if we sit here and justify Will slapping Chris Rock like that, it's pretty much setting an example to everybody out there that as long as anybody says anything that you don't like, it's okay to react with violence, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? You have to protect your masculinity at all costs. The most alpha thing you can ever do is to be able to sit back, let things ride, and be able to take advantage of negative opportunities and make a positive aspect out of it. Not to, you know what I'm saying, allow yourself to lose control and, you know what I'm saying, let down everybody that looks up to you in a positive light. Because at the end of the day, you have so many people that you have to represent yourself for. And you have, like I said, like what you were saying, it's all about the people that are looking forward to you and the ones that are supporting you. Fuck what Jada talking about. Don't worry about what Chris Rock got to say. Don't worry about none of that. This is supposed to be your night. You're Will freaking Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let a woman, you know what I'm saying, allow you to move in a way that's outside of your masculine frame. Don't allow no man to allow you to be able to make you move in a way that's outside of your masculine frame. You know what I'm saying? Allow yourself to be able to move in a way that supports your family, gives enlightenment to who you are, and allows you to shine even when others try to put you down. Because regardless of whatever type of attention you're getting, whether it's positive or negative, it's still attention, and it's still attention that you can use to benefit people in the long run. He should have used that as an opportunity to promote awareness about the disease and put him down, but instead of doing that, he wanted to get up there and assault the man, and that's not how you handle things as a man. And for anybody that's looking at it as a situation as if, oh, well, I want somebody to take up for me like that, a real woman wouldn't allow her man to get up there and make a fool of himself like that in front of the whole entire world. She would talk to him and de-escalate him and use it as a situation where he can be able to, you know what I'm saying, like I said, shine light on the situation by going up there and just simply stating that he didn't appreciate it, or, you know what I'm saying, if you really want to be G about it, all that money he got, he can really put money on his head, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, what is the point of having, what's the point of having a woman who doesn't protect the bag? What is the good of having a woman who can see y'all are sitting on a fortune from your image and whatnot, and her priority is not protecting that? Thank you very much for giving us a call. Camille understood what the deal was. Camille understood that. Felicia Rashad understood that with Cosby. But I mean, this is symptomatic of the world in which we live in today. The idea that, quote, protecting women means Anything that you put yourself in harm's way, you must be willing to lose everything. I want to ask you all a question. Can somebody name for me the last time that a woman in Hollywood went out and did something like this and lost her whole damn career to make a man happy? That she went off and you all tell me the last time that a female in Hollywood or entertainment let a man put a battery in her back and she was so desperate to be approved in his eyes that she did something to destroy her whole career. Because I'm like, okay, if you're going to say this is the correct thing to do, I need to see where everybody else is doing it. You still sit up here and give them this deference no matter how they treat you? Caller from area code 281, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Prince out of Richmond, Texas.
Prince out of Richmond, what's on your mind?
Jason, I have a question. And please clarify for me because I need this help. Is it unhealthy for a man to have a strong emotional connection to a woman?
Prince, did you call in Monday?
That he's in a committed relationship with.
Did you call in early this week, Prince?
Oh, I did. I slipped in. I'll call next week.
Caller from area code 210. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Dude, you are fighting with your phone like a Muppet. What is your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mel.
Okay, he is in Mortal Kombat with his damn phone. I hope he wins. Caller from area code 949. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Okay, the next person who says hello or can you hear me, just understand we're going to skip right by you. Just because you're not ready doesn't mean we're not.
Can you hear me?
Caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Cherie, and I'm calling from Washington, D.C.
Cherie from D.C., what's on your mind?
Yes, just a couple of points here. Will's image has forever.
Okay, if you're on speakerphone or iPods or something like that, take those off because you sound real distant from your phone.
No, I don't know what was going on with that, but I mean, I just think his image has forever changed. And I personally did not think that the joke was that bad because really, if he was about his business, that was a fantastic.
Okay, her AT&T Go phone dropped. Caller from area code 215. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay, is that Lamont?
No, I said Mark.
Okay, Mark, what's on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I think my issue was just with a little bit of the, I guess I'll just say the real thing. I think Will and Jada are in too deep about just admitting that open relationships are like a failure, especially when, I just think every person's real goal is to ultimately, like sometime, eventually, have one partner or have one partner who truly only wants them, just for them. I think somewhere deep down, everybody really wants that.
Well, I would just tell you right now, no man wants to share the mother of his children. Mm-hmm. Let's just cut past the bull crap. There is no man who wants to share the mother of his children. Either she gonna be all his or she gonna be all somebody else's. But I'll be damned. No, We're talking about biology. As males, that's a sign of dominance. When you allow another male to lay up with your woman, that's dominance. He's established dominance over you. You can't loan out your woman. This ain't a damn pair of shoes. This is your woman. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if that's an act of dominance, so they can sit up there and say those things. And let's be very, very clear. All this open marriage stuff didn't come until Jada messed things up. Then all of a sudden, so just understand damage control when you see it. And all I can say is, everybody, if you don't believe me, go and listen to little old August Alsina's Entanglement song. He's not describing an open marriage. Now, he's the one guy.
I really actually didn't hear the song.
Well, do yourselves a favor or disservice, but if you want to be informed about it, go and listen to it, or more importantly, just go look up the lyrics. You don't even listen to the song. Look up the lyrics. For those who think, oh, well, it was just open. Okay, no. You listen to that song, August is letting you know, oh, by the way, I established dominance. Go listen to it for yourselves. You got now she messing with a youngster. I can do things he can't. What? No, that's not an open marriage. That's not he's got my permission. That is not we got an understanding. That is somebody saying, hey, I got dominance. And there's no way a man is okay with that. None. No way whatsoever. So what I'm saying is that if you're going to lose your academy membership, if you are going to watch your film career that you spent decades building up going to jeopardy, if you're going to watch all that go down in flames, all I'm asking is this the woman that you do it for? That you're going to do this no matter how she treats you?
Yeah. That's very, very weak. And I mean, you know, I'm from Philadelphia again. I followed Will's career like a lot. And I like some of the things he kicks, like some of his unorthodox views and things of that nature and things like that. But as far as that one, I can tell that there's, you know, some deep down issue, whether it be maybe gay or just all types of other stuff. Of course, I don't really care. I think it's 100% fine and everything. But, you know, I think you just got to be more realistic about the way you craft your relationship because you're unorthodox, and don't just say, oh, I want to be with Jada just because she's Jada, you know?
Well, I mean, no, Will met her at a young age. Let's be very, very clear. You know, in that late 90s, it was between her and Nia Long. You know, I mean, you're talking about, you know, the chicks. And I was never a big Jada fan. She was always a little scrawny for me, but then again, I'm from Louisiana, so. But Jada was always a little scrawny for me. She wasn't ugly, but those really sharp, angular features, I was never a fan of that. But hey, the rest of the world very clearly disagreed with me. All right, knock yourselves out. But, you know, back in the late 90s, it was really only those two, you know, to be totally honest with you. And Will, like I say, I mean, that's what it brings back to Russell Wilson. These old chicks been floating since the late 90s or 2000s. They've been floating by, and they were looking for the last train leaving. And in the case of Jada, she never really did anything of any significance in Hollywood, but she got Will. Okay. Ciara, she lost what she had, but she was able to bag Russell. So I'm saying they have very keen eyes for being able to target a beta. These guys who are looking at them nostalgically, because there's something I want to show you all in this picture right here. There is something I want to show you. When I was examining it, something stuck out to me in this picture.
Are you talking about this picture that you got right now?
It's zooming in. Calm down. It's zooming in. Over there on the left, I want you to take a look at him. That's Will Smith, and if you recognize the haircut and everything, that's fresh off the Fresh Prince. That's fresh off the Fresh Prince. This isn't even, I don't even know if it was Independence Day at that point. He might have been. But I'm saying, take a look at the face. That is a naive young man. Take a look at him. He is young. He's inexperienced. He's naive. I don't know what he's been doing in Hollywood at that point, but take a look at him. That's a naive kid. He doesn't have a lot of sexual conquest and experiences. He's like the rest of the rappers. He talked big in his songs. He doesn't have a laundry list of females he was with. Remember, he was married to that first woman for years, had a kid with her. He wasn't trying to be no player. That is a naive, fresh-faced kid. Now you take a look at her. I mean, take a look at those eyes. That's the definition of calculating. That's the definition of I miss it. So Miss It grabbed a naive young beta. And that's what I'm saying. In a lot of ways, I kind of feel sorry for Will. Because I can look into his eyes and see, dude, you didn't even see this coming. You had no idea what the rattlesnake you were jumping in there with. But there's a bunch of y'all out there like this, which is why I'm saying there's a bunch of fellas out there right now. They got kids, they got marriages. There's a bunch of fellas out there who have hopped into beds with females. Your mama told you about sugar and spice and every damn thing nice, and naive as you all can be, and literally signing on to the philosophy that you are obligated to quote unquote protect a woman, and now protect has extended beyond her physical well-being. Now it's her emotional well-being. Now it's whether she's offended. Next thing you know, you're gonna have to be fighting people over whether or not they put enough guacamole on their burritos, because that's what's next.
Yeah.
Let's be very, very clear. I'm not joking. They're gonna be like, that's literally where they're gonna take it. That's literally where this is going next. That if they are offended at anything, let's be careful. What that person doing looking at me funny like that? You do understand.
Yeah.
To all the fellas out here talking about, well, it's about whether or not she's happy or whether or not she's, somebody offended her. Okay, well, if the rule now is you're going to be required to go jump on somebody if she's offended. By the way, she's not jumping on anybody for you. You have never seen her break out anywhere, go run into anybody because you're upset. But okay, if that's going to be the standard now, well, how many females went around talking about, did you see the way them folk was looking at me? They were looking at me sideways. Those folks at Barney's or Tiffany's, like they were the checkout folk at Barney's and Tiffany's. They kind of had an attitude. What they say? I mean, they didn't say nothing, but it's just the way they was doing it. Okay, so now if she feels some kind of way, now you're gonna have to take off on the cashiers at Macy's, Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus. Is that that's the standard of quote protection? That doesn't sound like protection. That sounds like slavery. That doesn't sound like a man. Damn sure doesn't sound like a leader. That sounds like a servant. And what I'm saying is, and you will soak up all the consequences. You'll soak up all of them. I want to introduce you all to a little something I want you to think about here. And I know you all are getting a whole lot taught to you here tonight. I'm going to introduce you to a philosophy in prisons, particularly in the California prisons. In the California prisons, among the racial groups, there is a term that they use when there is a conflict or a dispute amongst inmates of the same ethnic group. The term is no hands policy. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with what that means is that if you have a problem with another inmate of the same race, if you bring it up as an issue, I'm sorry, not just another inmate staff, if you have a complaint of any kind, you are in a prison that does not, where the inmates say, oh no, we don't fight at this prison. If there is an issue, you kill them or you don't say anything. So if you go to the shot callers, if you go to some of the inmates in the prison who got weight and you tell them you got a beef or an issue with another inmate or a guard, they're going to tell you, okay, we're going to get you a shank or whatever, and you're going to have to handle the business. But the business is not to beat them up. If this is so big of an issue, if this rises to such a level that you feel you got to say something, if this is something you are not gonna let go, then you are required to take it all the way or don't open your mouth. And California's not the only one.
And that will lead to people.
Well, California's not the only one, but it's certainly the most notorious in that regard. So what I'm saying is that if you got a situation where, okay, it's got to come to that. If your woman is that offended, I'm looking at her like, okay, we got a no hands policy, right? So you all in or don't say anything. At the damn Oscars, if there's any place that should have a no hands policy, that should be it. Period. And there's a bunch of fellas doing time or dead, and you're doing it for a female who she ain't got, she has a no hands policy, all right? She wouldn't bust a grape or stop and look out a window if you were offended. Everything she's going to say to you is, oh, well. But for the men, it's, you need to be willing to do a life sentence. You need to be willing to lose your job, lose your career. You have to be willing to lose that. At what point do men wise the hell up and stop being flunkies? And stop letting people sit up here and tell you that you have to have unlimited liability to make them happy. To make them happy. You have to have that's the cost of being with them, is you soak up unlimited liability? What the hell kind of relationship is this? No matter how she treats you. I'll let you have the last word.
I definitely agree. Oh, well, okay. Well, yeah, the last thing that I just wanted to say is I agree with pretty much almost everything you said. And I just think the word alpha and masculinity, I think that was the real reason that I kind of called in, but, I got new ideas. I think they're kind of overused and too general. And it's like, I don't know, that kind of cringes me a little bit. As a one caller said, the most alpha thing you could do would be X. And I'm like, what do you mean the most alpha thing you could do? Just be yourself and get a woman who likes you for you, however you are. And, that's just pretty much,
Well, I am going to say, I understand using, general language there. The idea of like, I don't know what the hell like is, to be totally honest. What I will tell you, though, is that a female is not into you if she doesn't admire you. If she doesn't, I told y'all, if she doesn't admire you and look up to you, she respects you. She respects you at a basic level, and that she admires you. Because here's my thing. When a woman really admires you, she doesn't send you into harm's way. She doesn't do that. A woman doesn't encourage you to go into harm's way if she admires you. Because she doesn't want to lose that. Think that over for a few moments.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here. By the way, one more thing I couldn't help but notice. Where's Biggie? Where's Tupac? Now, where are the females that they were laying up with back in 94 and 95? Where's Biggie? Where's Tupac? Where are the women they were laying up with back then? The women are still out here today. To this very day, they are still out here raising all kinds of havoc, creating all kinds of trouble, from Will Smith to Stevie J. Yeah, I know nobody's giving you the 720 degrees, but by the way, you still, quote, protect them no matter how they treat you? The fellas are dead. An aggravating factor being over these women. And what do the women do? Faith Evans had her legs wrapped around somebody before they could bury Biggie. And you can see what Jada did. I'm so heartbroken over Tupac and whatnot. Let me grab this lame nigga over here. There are fewer bullets flying over here on his side. Call him area code 215. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's Nick from Philly. How you doing?
Okay, your phone's really muddled, whoever you are. If you're on speaker, you need to take it off. If you're under a broom closet, you want to come out of it.
Is that better?
Okay, what's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing? This is Nick from Philly.
Nick from Philadelphia. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I was just calling in to piggyback off what you said. Pretty much, it's considered a Pyrrhic victory. Most people would say that. At what cost do you want to lose everything? He won in the sense of dealing with his emotional stuff, his meltdown, his breakdown, and all that. But at what cost? Everything? Like, it's not worth it. I believe that you and I are within the same generation. I know I'm 36 or whatever, and you're in your 40s. You pull that man to the side, you holler at him in the back like, "Look, bro, you don't do that in front of everybody." It's like, see no evil, hear no evil. We're gonna talk about this man to man, but Will's not that guy. He's been trying to find himself. He even said that in that interview he did with Elliot and B-Dot or whatever. Like, he just doesn't know who he is, and this shows that he still doesn't know what he is because he's a beta male.
Well, I mean, what would have happened if he did nothing. If the joke was so devastating, anybody trying to defend it, just ask yourselves, by the way, and if Will stays in his seat and didn't do anything, what's the worst that would have happened if he had said, would anybody have even acknowledged that joke if he didn't do what he did? Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 480. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jackson from Phoenix, Arizona.
Jackson from Phoenix. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can recover from this. I think if he divorce her and I don't know, talk to you maybe. What do you think?
My policy. I don't advise people to get divorced. So if he did talk to me and say, should I keep her or should I stay? Will, regardless of certain rumors, I ain't gonna snuggle up with you no matter what happens. So I'm not going to tell you divorce her, but you might want to be in a different house. No, I can't. I will tell people, yeah, you might want to do that one there. Here's my thing. If he hasn't developed an identity outside of her, what is he going to do? If she is his anchor, if she is that which he's anchored himself by, what does he do? How do you get him to see anything outside of it? Because, like, if he spent his life wanting to get that type of respect, and he's been with this woman for 2 decades, I'm just saying, in their relationship, he looks up to her. Let's be very, very clear. She ain't got nothing. She's 50 years. And there's the other thing about it. There was another collage of pictures that I wanted to show, but I wanted to show you is understand something. To men, especially one who's been with this long, this is the way. On your screen right now, these 3 pictures here when they were young, this is how Will Smith sees Jada right this moment. He's got loving eyes. She will always be that chick from the late 90s. And that can be a good thing. That's called attachment. But what if you're emotionally attached to somebody who doesn't have your best interests at heart? So in this case right here, can he recover from it? I certainly believe in the concept of redemption. I certainly do. That's what I was. So, no, that's my personal belief system. Here's the issue. Get a studio system to insure him. Because understand something, for those of you who don't remember movies like The Twilight Zone, now that bondsmen run these things, imagine being on the set of a film and having to calculate, okay, what's the insurance risk of Will Smith being here if somebody accuses him of striking them? How do we disprove it? What I'm saying is it's a lot of walking liability. There's a reason why there are certain actors who you just can't get them a role for anything. Certainly not on a big, huge production. There's a reason why they have to go to smaller productions because it's like, okay, the liability of having you is just too much. Well, it was just one night. It was just one time. It was one slip. Dude, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. So when I'm telling you as an insurance company or a bondsman having to calculate, okay, what's the possibility that one of the gaffers, key grips, character actors, a walk-on, if he's by himself anywhere at any time, how do we protect ourselves from that? You got Paul Rodriguez running around now talking about Will was threatening on the set of Ali and this, that, and the other. What I'm saying is, if Paul Rodriguez had said that 6 days ago, nobody would be listening. Now, everybody's listening. You can't sit up here and fantasize, well, people shouldn't be listening to it. Okay, that's infantile talk. They're listening. He's got an audience now. And that's not to say it's necessarily going to change the price of tea in China, but what I am saying is that how are you going to get anybody to say, in the chat room, they're talking about Sean Penn has a temper. What I'm saying is if somebody sits there on the set and says, I was intimidated in this damn super fragile era. I was intimidated by his big blackness. Shout out Charlize Theron. She was talking about Tom. Yeah. She was talking about Tom Hardy. Well, you tell me, Will, they found his blackness. If he gets on that set and one of the white folk wants to pull his card, I was just intimidated.
Yeah.
One of the little white women. You need to pay me an extra $5 million to be on this film. I'm just intimidated working with Will. He's big and black and scary. He was looking at me the way he looked at Chris Rock. He was looking at me the way he looked at Chris Rock. I'm just scared. I'm just worried. Tell me how Margot Robbie. You can talk about Harley Quinn all you damn well want to. If Margot Robbie gets on the set of the next Suicide Squad film and talk with all the rumors about her allegedly, some folks alluding that because nobody can ever prove it. I hate when people spread rumors like that. But despite all that, you tell me if Margot Robbie sits up here and says, well, Will, he was just looking at me in a real menacing manner. I don't know what's changed with him. I need to get an extra $5 million to work on this film. I don't know how me and Will can be together. Yeah, I can't do it. Okay, tell me, how does a production protect itself now? And I'm not saying that I want this to happen. What I'm telling y'all is when you have folk who sit up here and slapping folk, whether it's on the 5150 show or whatever, I'm saying y'all got to think this stuff over, man. Y'all have to think this over.
I've never been a big fan of him, but I'm kind of rooting for him now. But it's going to be hard to come back for it if he does come back. But I think he could do it, and I'm kind of rooting for him just because he's Will Smith, and I'm not really a big fan of him.
I mean, what will have to happen?
He's always
the best case scenario is he's going to have to go into the wilderness. He's going to have to disappear for a couple of years. I mean, we're in Mel Gibson territory now, and we all see what happened to his career after that. Will might not get arrested. I certainly hope he doesn't. I'm not hoping he does. I certainly want to see him, move on from this. I certainly would like that. But what I am going to say is we're in Mel Gibson territory. That's where we're at now. Mel disappeared for a few years, but let's just keep it real. His career was never the same after that because productions were asking themselves, can we absorb the liability if somebody makes an accusation against him? If one of the Jewish people on set or gay people on set, if they make an accusation, what are we going to do? So a bunch of folks sitting on Twitter don't have to make those calculations. A $200 million Warner Brothers movie does. Clowns on the internet are not going to pay the insurance premium. So that's the calculus that needs to be made now. My advice to him would be, you need to disappear. And you need to do like Mel Gibson. When you come back, I don't know, shave your head, grow a beard, get some tattoos. I don't know what needs to be done here. But you need to disappear for a few years. I'm
just thinking out loud. That's
I can't.
I'm not suggesting anything. I think that's
here's the real problem. That ship has sailed. At this point now, you're closing the barn door after the horses are out.
Yeah, he should have done it when he was around the table.
So that's the reason why I'm evading that divorce thing. I'm like, divorce her now for what? The damage is done. The damage is done. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. My only advice to him would be just, you need to disappear for a couple years. And I'm talking about complete radio silence. First of all, number one thing. Jason, what does he need to do? Number one thing, you need to get Chris Rock to publicly acknowledge that he is forgiving you and that all is good. You're going to have to get Chris. That's the first order of business. Don't do it right now. But you're going to have to get Chris to publicly acknowledge you and get Chris to publicly say that y'all are good. You don't recover from this. If Chris Rock doesn't sign off on you, if Chris Rock doesn't say we're good, you don't recover from this. You don't. Anybody can use that for the rest of your days. So first order of business, you and Chris got to get good. Which I don't know how we get there unless Chris Rock has just a better humor about himself than anybody ever imagined he did. Next order of business, you need to disappear for a few years. Third order of business, when you come back, all the silliness, all the drama, all the rest of that stuff, bro, you need to be hardcore stomped down about what you're doing as an actor and hope for the best after that. That would be the only advice I could give you. But right now, bro, nobody wants to see you for a good reason. So there's no reason to be seen. You need to let the world forget about you so you can reintroduce yourself. It was one thing when Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear. It's like, okay, that was one thing. This is different. Caller from area code 424. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Cindy. I'm calling for California.
Where at in California?
Hello? None of your business. Okay, so right now I see your title on there.
Caller from area code 910. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is Malcolm from Fayetteville.
Malcolm from Fayetteville, and what's on your mind?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this whole Will Smith situation, and if you allow me to be kind of like a conspiracy theorist, I think he was a ticking time bomb from 2015 on to now. Like Jim Carrey said, this is a culmination of everything. And Eddie Griffin said something that rings really, really loud in my head. Hollywood don't let you leave clean. Because for the longest time, Will Smith did his darndest to stay clean, like not getting any real major scandals. You brought up the Margot Robbie situation that was never confirmed. And it seems like he could literally do no wrong. But then this whole August Alsina thing came up, and it's just been a rolling snowball for him the entire time. He didn't really confront it. He didn't really He just held everything in and just tried to hopefully everything would just sweep underneath the rug. And like you said, he had such an affinity for Jada that when this situation happened on a night where the production was led by a whole black staff, run by a long running black director, and Will Smith was about to get this award and everything. It would have been the perfect night for black excellence. So something had to happen to ruin it, and Will Smith was the perfect ticking time bomb. The perfect ticking time bomb.
Well,
and G.I. Jane
we're supposed to be talking about Will Packer. We're supposed to be talking about, even Will Smith's Oscar, to be totally honest with you. We're supposed to be talking about that, and building on that. And that's the real thing about it. That's the real shame of it, especially for Will Packer. Like I say, he's been out there striving for a long time, and let them have their moment here, Let them have their moment. That's an important thing to have. You can't overlook that. Let him have his moment. We're not talking about what needs to be happening importantly. Thank you very much for giving us a call. I'm asking a question here tonight because I've been asking about here with folk talking about protecting women, and now the definition to protect women has gone to if they're even offended by something that somebody says or a gesture somebody does, you are required to risk life and limb. And now the people that egg this on, you want to know how bad it can get? It can get this bad. It can get this bad. So I'm asking, do you risk this? Do you risk this for a woman no matter how she treats you? Do you still do that no matter how she treats you? Caller from area code 816. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Charmaine. I'm calling from Kansas City, Missouri.
Charmaine from Kansas City. What's on your mind?
I don't think that the issue is that Jada was offended. I think the issue is Jada acted as if she was offended. She is an actress. And that over-the-top eye roll was a performance for her husband and for the cameras. She wanted attention. She wants to be the center of attention. And she wanted to push her husband's button so that he would react. And he did and made a fool of himself. I have cancer. I'm going through chemo. My head is bald. That joke was not offensive. That was all an act.
I mean, the thing is really offensive for folks who got real issues and stuff. You know, men have had male pattern baldness and the stigma that goes with that forever. But the real thing was,
my father's.
I would go even further though. I mean, I want to go back to what I said. What your comment I think really underscores, going back to what we said here before. That night was about Will. That was about his accomplishment. And what I'm saying is, quite frankly, it doesn't give a damn what's happening to Jada. Long as nobody's put their hands on her, this ain't your night. This is not your night to make it about you.
Exactly.
And everybody's trying to make excuses when in reality, y'all just need to settle. She made that night about herself. Why in the hell is it she couldn't just sit there? A bunch of other folks been joking and whatnot. The real problem is it was the Academy Awards and nobody was looking at her. And she seized on an opportunity to make it about her. She seized on an opportunity. And like I say, everybody's talking about we don't know what was said before they got there. Whatever it was emasculating to him. Whatever it was, it made him feel insufficient and deficient. To have him go up here and overcompensate like that to the point that he basically let me be very, very clear. When he walked up on that stage, he understood what that meant. Dude, you're about to throw everything you got away. That's all about to go away. And well, I got Jada. Really? Really?
And then my second comment, Chris Rock and Will Smith didn't just meet that night. They had been knowing each other at least 25 years, if not longer. And if she had really been offended, which I don't think she was offended by the joke, but if it really did offend her, why would you treat a man that you have known for 25 years or longer like that?
Well, I don't think they really know each other like that. I don't think they're friends like that. I've never seen anything that indicated that. I don't know they've taken a couple of pictures together. I don't think they really know each other like that, which makes it even worse, to be totally honest. What I will tell you is what this shows is a lack of respect for other men. And what it really shows is who runs you. And what I'm saying is, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Is this woman worth you losing all of that for?
No.
Is she worth it? And is she worth it under these circumstances? I'm just saying that under these circumstances, this is Will's night. And by the way, I'm doing tonight's program because I want guys to understand something here. There are a bunch of men listening right now. This is their life. They're with a female who will not let up. She is selfish. She's conceited. She's vain. Everything she's done in her life is about her. They're single moms. They're career women. They're completely self-obsessed with themselves. Everything they've ever done with a man has turned out badly or horrendously, one or the other. And then these guys are sitting there trying to please them. And now they're saying, okay, well, I can be pleased if you protect me. Now the definition of protect me is if I think someone's looking at me funny, you're obligated to run over there and take whatever consequences occur. In the chat room, you're talking about Tiffany Haddish thinks so. Tiffany Haddish is demonstrating why she doesn't have a man. That attitude right there, when Tiffany Haddish said that, I saw that and I said, yeah, and that's why you don't have a man at your advanced age. That's why you don't have one. And that's why you're not gonna get one. So if there was one good thing about this entire fiasco, if there was one good thing about this, what it's done is it has demonstrated, is given us an opportunity to have a conversation about this. That we've really got an ultra abusive environment where you have males being told to go on suicide missions to please a female who is unable to be pleased. And this is across the society. You've got fellas out here getting killed, hurt, imprisoned, whatever you want to name it, to please somebody who, number one, isn't worth it, and number two, cannot be pleased. Because understand something right now, if Will goes and messes around and loses everything she's got, how many people want to bet $3 that Jada is going to stick with him? Hell, you can't guarantee it now. If he loses his status in Hollywood, you can't even guarantee that. Or if she does, she's going to stay with him so she can continue doing what she's been doing. She'll stay with him now to continue doing. See, I told you, nigga, you wasn't going to be able to hold on to it. I didn't tell you to. I know how the conversation. I didn't tell you to go up there. But you were laughing when I came back. Well, yeah, I mean, it was crazy as hell what you did. I mean, it wasn't funny. I was just like, wow, that was crazy. But I didn't tell you to take your dumb ass up there and slap that man. I didn't say to do that. So she will sit up here and egg him on. They'll sit up here and put a battery on you. They'll sit up here and put a motor on you, egg you on. As soon as you go and do that, when the fallout happens, she's going to be the first one saying, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't say that. You didn't have, you could have handled that any other way. That's exact. If he loses what he's got, that's what she's going to say. I didn't tell you to do that. Why couldn't you just talk to him? You could have just talked to him later. Yeah, but your face and everything. Yep. But I mean, I make expressions all the time. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I'll agree with your point. The very next thing Will Smith needs to do is make amends with Chris Rock on Chris Rock's terms. Not that BS PR written apology that he posted on Instagram. He needs to get with that man and really get his forgiveness for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be like dude with what was that? With Omarion, I forget what the immature or whatever was running around with April, whatever that chick's name is. He's going to have to do him. Like I say, without that, I don't see anything happening. If Chris Rock doesn't publicly take the heat off of him for that, and being at a comedy club saying don't curse about Will, that ain't going to get it. That's not what's going to do it. Because now you got bad feelings with the general public. Because everybody has had a bully. Everybody's had a point in their life when they had a bully. And everybody knows full damn well, Will doesn't do this with anybody else. If it's literally anybody else on that stage, he does not do this. It's just bad from every angle. Thank you very much for giving us a call here, and I certainly wish you a good fortune on your chemotherapy and help things turn out well for you. Let me get a caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Reese calling back from Washington, D.C.
Reese from D.C. When did you call me last, Reese?
Yes, the call dropped. I was on my way home from work.
Okay.
But I just wanted to make a couple of points. You have done an excellent job, especially with the Black excellence. It's really refreshing to hear someone talk about Black excellence. Because if for no other reason than the icons in the room that set and paved the way for him to be where he is at this point, or where he was prior to the incident, he should have contained himself. He should have totally contained himself. And had he stayed in his seat, would it have made any difference? Jada has done everything to emasculate him and to humiliate him that a wife could do to a husband. She has really made a difference. What more could she do to him?
At this point right now, The only thing she hasn't done is do a lap dance with August Alsina on the set of Suicide Squad. That's the only thing she hasn't done. She hasn't done a lap dance for August Alsina while wearing a Tupac t-shirt and thong on the set of Suicide Squad. But don't give her any ideas. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get called from area code 980. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Carolyn calling from Charlotte. I have a question to ask you.
Okay, Carolyn calling from Charlotte.
90 seconds. Yes. When I
Charlotte,
it,
where, Carolyn?
Oh, in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Thank you, ma'am. There's more than one Charlotte. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Yeah, the Oscar viewership since 2014 has decreased by 70%. So that's why I thought it was staged. And I want your opinion on that. Another opinion. 60 seconds. How did the white media and Hollywood take both sides? And then third, Jada's her mother's daughter. I mean, she, in a way, is similar to her mother, and she made a lot of mistakes that her mother made.
We're asking a lot of questions here. Jada is her mama's child, that's for certain. As far as the white media, I mean, basically, yeah, they kind of have, which is what they do. It's triangulation. So on the one hand, you don't know how things will go with Will, so you haven't really seen them pushing super hard about, oh, he needs to be arrested and stuff. But by the same token, they're not throwing him a lifeline either. So basically what they're doing is basically you're backing both of them. So on the one hand, they're very sympathetic towards Chris Rock. On the other hand, they're not going as severe on Will as they could. And that allows them to keep their hands dirty. Now, they've already decided what they're going to do about it, but it certainly helps in that regard. Now, back to your first question. Hello?
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Back to your first question.
Yes, the first question was the Oscar viewer, the decrease 70% since 2014.
Okay. Well, the viewership numbers are certainly something to keep in mind. It certainly plays a factor in things, which is why I'm saying, okay, I think that's certainly played a factor in how they've allowed this to develop since then. It certainly worked out very well for them. A lot of observers in the media, outside the media, they basically agree with everything I said Monday when I said, by the way, if they want to have great ratings for next year, the only words they got to say is hosted by Chris Rock. That's really all they have to say. And they're going to have fantastic ratings for next year, even though there ain't going to be nothing to see next year. So take that as you will. The ratings this time around were not god awful, but they weren't great either. They were not in the right home about this time either. So yeah, there's a certain amount of argument that could be made for somebody who questions the events that they've seen. And there's certainly been precedent for this before. There certainly has been. At this point, I'm just going to tell you, as one of the people who came out and said that first, there were three things I was looking for that would determine for me if these events were staged, if these events were not authentic. There were three things in particular I was looking for because I know how it's supposed to happen. Number one, I'm looking to see if Chris Rock takes any action at all. That's the first thing I'm looking for. If Chris Rock just takes this and does nothing, that's the first thing saying to me, okay, this is somebody got together on this. Because Chris, your image is taking a hit, man. You didn't just take a hit, your image has. The second thing I'm taking a look for is to see, do the networks say or do anything about this? How does the media cover it? They kind of just, as you said, they've been kind of straddling the fence on it. All right. Last, I'm looking to see what does the Academy do. Now, if you have all three of these entities who do nothing, And I'm like, okay, the fix is in. Well, it took them a little bit of time, but it didn't take too long. So the Academy has weighed in. So at this point right now, it's like, okay, that shoe dropped. If another shoe drops, there's really not going to be an argument on the fake side of it. And let me tell you, that makes it even worse. That would just make it even worse. If it was staged, it's like, okay, they were desperate for ratings. But I'm like, okay, they did it for the money. This is a smart way of doing it, but they did it for the money. They did it for the ratings. Okay, I don't respect it, but I understand it.
Okay.
If Will really did allow this to break him like that, if you really allowed this to happen and to supersede the hard work of Will Packer and all these other black folks there, if you really did this, that you were so selfish that your relationship to her mattered to you more than all these other people, forget anybody else here at all. For the black folk who were there, that this is our night, to make that kind of thing happen, it's like you put yourself ahead of all these people. There's going to be the real problem. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Clarence. I'm calling from Memphis, Tennessee.
Clarence from Memphis. What's on your mind?
Well, I've talked about this with my family. We had some great discussions. And I was encouraged by my son making a point that it's not good to be overly emotional. And when I look at Will trying to do his Tupac impersonation, I can't help but to think about that fatal night with Tupac when he was walking with some real active gangsters and he saw another active gangster and he thought it would be smart to go over and punch him.
Very good.
Tupac has a lot of admirable traits, but emotionalism was not one of them. And he is no longer with us. He lost it all. And black men in particular are at risk of losing it all from someone calling you the N-word or some lady trying to gaslight you into doing something unwise. And you would think that at 54 years old, Will would kind of, he'd be able to pick this up of what happened to this 25-year-old icon who's no longer with us. So that's basically the point I want to make.
That was,
the parallel.
That is an excellent point. History is repeating itself or rhyming. You're absolutely right. Tupac was the only non-gangster in that casino. He was the only non-gangster who was trying to put hands on Orlando. He was the only one. And when the event was over, he was the only one that Orlando and his kinfolk were trying to get at. They didn't even shoot. They didn't really try to shoot Suge like that. They grazed Suge. Tupac was the only one they were trying to get, and he did that because he wanted to prove to Death Row that he was down.
Absolutely.
He was trying to prove to them that he was down, and they were like, all these years later, you got them dudes sitting up there talking to DJ Vlad, telling him, "Hey man, Pac shouldn't have even been there. We were the gangsters. You supposed to let us do what we do. Pac wasn't even supposed to be there. He wasn't supposed to be no part of that. He got himself involved in some gangster stuff. He wasn't even supposed to be there. He supposed to let us do that." And trying to prove something. So that's why all of this talk of when you are abusing the intent of a hashtag like Protect Black Women and elevating that to put yourself unnecessarily in harm's way, what that really shows is there's a lot of people who just hate black men and they want to see us in danger. Because it's one thing to say that a man is biologically wired to put himself in danger, but that's supposed to be a last resort. That is supposed to be a last resort. Because you don't know these people, man. You don't know them. Chris got folk there at that place. You don't know when somebody's going to be like, oh, we got beef, and they escalate. You don't know what's going on. And folk on the internet are sitting at home eating their popcorn and being entertained, but none of them have to live with these consequences. And by the way, I'm pretty sure, like with the incident at the casino and stuff, I'm pretty sure that Tupac was ready to get arrested that night. I'm sure he was. They arrested, because remember they arrested Suge, he got violated. They arrested a bunch of people. I'm sure that Tupac figured, well, I'm going to get arrested for assault, and that's the worst that could happen. I'll get arrested for assault, and that's the worst that could happen. In Will's case, he knew that being arrested was pretty low on the totem pole of possibilities, and Chris Rock super socking him was non-existent. So he pretty much figured, well, what's the worst that can happen? And what I'm saying is we got a whole bunch of people egging you on and saying, give up everything you got. And once again, my whole point tonight was, all right, I understand that. But is this the woman you do this for? Because I'm not saying that there isn't one, but this is the one? Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Mary code 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. My name is Robert. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Robert from Pittsburgh, what's on your mind?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
What's on your mind?
First of all, to answer your question, she didn't deserve a man to lose everything by her actions. And secondly, I like to say that white supremacy is the puppeteer. They call, but we don't have to go. They all are culpable in this chaotic drama. The supremacists for trying to destroy the black man and black woman. Chris, that was his friend. Will, he enabled his feelings to cause him to make a mistake. Jada, her selfish inappropriateness and the way that she handled their relationship was to blame too. Everything should be done decently and in order. Special interest groups are targeting to hurt the black family. The ruins of our society begin in the home. Will should have navigated this moment better. My question is there a need to protect and educate black women and even men under all conditions? Because I heard some of the notable people talk that we should protect our women in all situations because they are suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. They've been attacked all over the world, raped and so forth.
All I can say is anybody who would say that you're supposed to just jump up all the time, anytime, anywhere that a female is unhappy, that is an unbelievably poor strategist and an inexcusably irrational person. Physical action is supposed to be a last resort. That's supposed to be I need to do this, because once you enter into that realm, anything can happen. That's not something you do lightly. You can talk lightly, but when you enter the realm of putting your hands on people for any reason, you enter into that realm very, very carefully and very, very cautiously. You make a very good question, though, about educating black men and black women. I think this is a good, I'm glad we're having this conversation now, because I think as black men, this is an opportunity to be educated about this. That right now you have a bunch of black men claiming protect women. And what I'm saying is that are you currently receiving the level of respect, deference, and admiration that you are requiring in order for you to perform like that and to do that? Now, if you are, then go with God. However, I think this would be a good opportunity for the men to reevaluate their situation, reevaluate their standing, and make it very clear. You get a lot of respect by saying no and making it very clear that, hey, if you do have an issue, I'm just telling you, fellas, this is the time to file your grievance. This is the time to make it very clear, hey, we got a number of reasons why we're saying no. And if you're going to say that, make sure you're very, very clear about it. Because if fellas today say this in a group and acknowledge as a group that, hey, you know what? There's two sides to this, and no, we're not backing that. And here's the reason why, because you're asking us to take leadership risks, and yet we're not being given leadership respect. Because you got a bunch of females out here who just last week were talking about divesting and Brad and Zaddy and this, that, and the other. And then jumping up this week talking about hashtag protect black women. Like, oh, no, hashtag call Brad. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Hashtag call Zaddy. Caller from area code 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Kama from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Kama from Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to get your thoughts on why you think the mainstream media and mainstream populace don't blatantly see how Jada might be the perpetrator or puppeteer in this whole situation, and then also with her latest
they do. She's doing exactly what they want her to do, and that's why they're taking advantage of it now. Remember something, they wait a long time for you. You know, they wait a long time. When we say it as a black man, they are waiting for the day they can come back and claw back everything they gave you. And what Bill Cosby has taught them is that even if we can't destroy your legacy by taking your money, we can destroy your legacy by taking your status and your image. We can make you a pariah that people won't fool with. So yeah, you'll have money, but you won't have anything to pass on.
Right. We kind of see that working, but why do the news outlets, the when we click on the other YouTube videos, how come they don't see, or they're not talking about Jada? They're talking about Will and and it's totally on Will. They're not giving any blame to Jada, the mainstream.
Well, I mean, they're not going to do that because Jada's a nobody. Jada Pinkett was only relevant among black people. Ask the average white person, and yes, I got plenty of white folk listening to me right now. If we asked you all to name 3 movies that Jada Pinkett was in, you all couldn't do it. Maybe some of them would say the Matrix films, and in reality, she was really just a cameo. So I really can. I'm very reluctant to let you get away with that one. But other than the Matrix films, if you ask the average white person, name 3 movies that Jada Pinkett was in before she became Jada Pinkett Smith, and even after, you couldn't do it. So just understand they're in the same bucket. So they understand who she is in relation to him. But one thing to be certain of, she wasn't the target. He was.
And then last comment, her Instagram post saying, I'm here for it. It's the season for healing. I just wanted your thoughts. Do you think that she, the last time she used this word healing, she brought Will to the, red table, and that got millions and millions of views. It brought
that wasn't what I thought
relevance
of.
Back to her.
That's not what I thought of. I thought about when Snoop Dogg went there.
Okay, but do you foresee her using this incident and bringing it to her talk show, her red table talk, and then gaining notoriety, views, money off of this, off the back of Will's mistake?
That was an option, maybe, before today. Things done got real. So that was an option before today, because with him resigning from the academy, what they're saying is, oh, no, this wasn't staged. And I'm like, boy, I was really giving you a lot of leeway there, Will, because if it was, you can go on Red Table Talk. If this isn't, you're radioactive. So they're really, because here's the problem. No, you can't make light of this. And you can't make light of it because of all the YouTubers who are talking. You're talking about the corporate media outlets. Man, forget that. You all need to go look up how many lawyers on YouTube are talking about this. That's what you all really need to take a look at. Is take a look at how many lawyers are talking about this, and take a look at what the lawyers are saying. If you all want to take your heads out of some of the silly stuff going, go ahead and do a search for some of these lawyers on YouTube talking about this situation and hear them explaining what the ramifications are, what the real liability is, and what could really happen. And then you'll realize, oh, this is radioactive. You can't flip this. It's not like pro wrestling. You can flip this. Yeah, you can flip it if it's fake. You can flip it if it's staged. You can flip it if Will Packer and everybody are in on it. Yeah, you can flip that. You can't flip this if this is legitimate. Because first you got to get Chris Rock to go along with it. Jada don't need to talk to Will. She needs to talk to Chris. right after Will talks to Chris. Or maybe she talk to Chris right before Will does, but y'all gotta talk to him. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. The kid don't like Jada neither. But yeah. You don't have a leg to stand on. You're not gonna be able to flip this. There are a lot of men right now, they're doing time. There are a lot of men right now, you've lost your careers, you lost friendships, you lost families, you lost family connections because some female gave you a look, gave you a wink, and told you that your manhood was in question if you did not comply, if you didn't make her happy. And it wasn't like she was a chick who was 10 toes down for you. This is a chick who leave you at the drop of a hat, but you're supposed to be endlessly loyal to her no matter what occurs? I'm just asking a question. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Josh from Chicago.
Josh from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, you hit it right on the head, because when I was thinking, the other brother said, the caller brother said about Tupac's situation. Tupac was a thespian. He was a poet. He went to the wrong crowd, and then the thing is about when Will did that, a lot of women said that that was Tupac thug energy. But the thing what happened to Tupac, his demise was he kept on being confrontational with people. He kept on putting his hands on people. He couldn't squash beefs because he kept on burning bridges. After that incident in Vegas, he got killed because of that. And the thing is, that's the lesson learned. That's a lot of brothers in jail dead and hurt because over a woman, because what they said. And we have to look at this. This is the consequences, the repercussions we have with each other. We have to stop doing that. It's always have to resort to violence when it comes to something like that happening. And it is just that disappointment that these chicks don't. They just want us to jump through the hoops and jump whatever happens, and no question about it.
That's not leading, that's slavery. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Yes, I'm Ben from DC.
Okay, Ben from DC. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just want to say this whole thing is I'm disappointed in Will Smith, because growing up he was like an older brother, and now that I'm pushing 40 now, it's like he broke all kinds of man code with it. I would have had more respect for him if he would have just shouted out what he did from the seat right after Chris Rock told the joke. That would have been cool, and left it at that. If it's anything extra, we talked to him backstage. But the fact that he go up, put hands on, he reacted to a woman being emotional and responded being physical. I thought that was wrong too. You don't let a woman's emotion cause you to get physical in any form. I was just let down from Will and everyone making Tupac comparisons with him. It was more. I think he was trying to be Jim West from Wild Wild West, because even when he walked back to his seat, he had his thumb in his belt loop just like Jim West and sat down. He was still in the putting on the.
Well, I mean,
you want to do
no. That's called channeling.
Okay.
Yeah, that's called channeling. He's channeling Tupac. He's channeling characters, and the reason for it is because that's not who he is.
Well, that's
Will ain't no tough dude. Will ain't no street dude. Talking about West Philadelphia, he ain't no street cat. Will is not a walk up and slap a nigga. That's not him. That's not him.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why you see him putting on the airs of somebody. Like I say, when you see Chris Brown, it's like, dude, you ain't no blood. Knock it off. Knock it off, man.
Right.
So it's kind of like, like when you see the Asian dudes trying to rap, you're channeling something that's not a street you're from. So they're channeling something they saw from somebody else. And you need to pay attention when you see somebody channeling something. They're trying to tell you something. If that's not who you really are and you're channeling somebody else, that's going to happen. In the chat room, no, he was not channeling Richard Williams either. Knock it off.
That was justification for the audience.
He had a short amount of time to sit up here and figure out how can I explain this away, and that wasn't what happened. That wasn't what it was. That wasn't what it was. And for anybody who wants to try to defend it still, by the way, oh no, folks, I didn't bring receipts. I brought invoices.
Let them have it. Let them have it. Because what I've noticed, even online, all the guys on social media that's defending Will, they I could see this like, you know, beta energy floating around, and then even when I question them on it, it's like they're giving real vaginal responses, and I'm like, okay, I can't talk to you. You don't get it. Like the man code violation. Like, I'm glad you put man code in the title, because that's what I've been saying all week. Like no, you broke code, man. That's not how you do things. I was let down by the whole thing.
Yeah, because here's my thing right here is that, bro, you ain't responsible to some jackasses on the internet. That's the real damn thing. Fellas, you're not responsible to clowns on the internet. You're not responsible to some broad. That's not who you're responsible to, man. You're responsible to the other men. You are responsible to the other men around you. We're the ones you're responsible to. You're not responsible to some chick. If things go down, she is not going to be there to throw no hands. She's not going to do anything. If it becomes a life or death situation, your respect in the industry, your access to capital, your ability to network, your physical safety, that depends on the respect of the other men.
Right.
And we've got this ridiculous ass bizarro world situation where fellas are out here acting like their future and their safety depends on what the women think, or what should I say, what a woman thinks. And what I'm saying is, dude, you've lost the respect of the men. And I'm telling you all right now, he's lost the one woman he was trying to impress. She's not going to be okay with it. She's not going to be. She was laughing at the awards ceremony. But I submit to you, she wasn't laughing for the reason that Will might have thought she was laughing. Because all I can see is every time this woman laughs, it's usually something that's not good for him. Her and entanglements. Ha ha ha. George Clooney dissing him. Ha ha ha. Get ready to lose your Academy Award, your Academy membership. Ha ha ha. I'm like, dude, you need to read the damn room. Every time she's giggling, it's for something that's not good for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you for taking my call, sir. I keep supporting you. Happy Black Media Month and all that.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 954. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I was Carl from Fort Lauderdale. That energy that he displayed, that's the energy that they want the married heterosexual males to have. The Russell Wilson, we got to leave the Super Bowl party. The Dwayne Wades. I wonder what's going to happen when they have a joke about him, because he's next. I'm believing. And then the real protection of a female. Now those dudes, now in the industry, everybody respects Monique. Not by nothing Monique has done. It's because of her husband Sydney. And I never heard him being physical with nobody, not even with a 6 foot, however much Tyler Perry is. But he respect that brother on how he defends his wife when it comes to that bag. And that's the way you protect it. But then they get mad at her because she calls Sydney daddy. Oh, that like, I wouldn't be calling my man. Like, wow. So what kind of protection do you want?
I mean, there is no right answer. The answer is whatever they say it is today. That's the answer. Check back with them in 5 minutes, because the real problem is the folk on the internet and these other places co-signing it. Fellas, it's a sucker move to sit up here and try to please any of them. You all need to understand that is a full-blown sucker move. You cannot please any of these females who hate men like that. You can't please them because they don't really mean it the way you think they mean it. They hate men. They do not. The only thing that would have made them happier is to see both of them dead. And I mean literally. They would have been like, oh, well, you see, they just can't control themselves. We told you. That's what it would have been. So if one of you makes it out, they'll side with them. If both of you don't, they'll condemn both of you. Men need to get better at recognizing people who have venom for you. You got to get better at recognizing people who have disdain for you. Got to get better at that.
And another point I wanted to make: Jada Pinkett Smith she needs to have a conversation with a comedian by the name of Wanda Smith out of Atlanta, who used to be on V103. She had a real, you could go check it. She had a roasting session between her and Cat Williams, and Cat got the best of her, and she couldn't take it. And she called her husband to pull up, and he pulled up at the club later on that night. And Cat, he 911, and shoot, it cost her bag. She was off the radio station, and right now she good people, but she climbing back out of that foolishness, and she know that her emotions caused her husband to react in a way that end up ultimately costing her bag. And if you in Atlanta, everybody know about Wanda Smith and how that situation went with her and Cat Williams, but it was over jokes.
Well, I mean, but the real thing is, it's about males trying to please reckless females. You see, back in your granddaddy's day and your great-granddaddy's day, they would have told her, heifer, sit the hell down. And you've got silly little internet meme broads out here telling you that was oppressing women. No, when you start acting recklessly, because you're not going to bear any of these responsibilities. You're not even trying to bear them. You're talking foolish and reckless specifically because you will not be bearing them. Let's be very, very clear. She's sitting up here and telling her husband something to go sit up here and egg him to go to the club with Cat. Baby, if it was that serious, no hands policy. Here your shank. Get up in there. She was never going to do that. If it had been a female comedian, she never would have done that. If it was a female comedian sitting up here busting on her like this, she never would have done that. They have no problem sending the men off to go bear the responsibilities. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you're going to put it all on the line, it needs to be for somebody who's put it all on the line for you. Recognize when folks are playing your ass. She said that specifically because she felt that whatever happens tonight, I won't have to bear the consequences for it. I'll have plausible deniability. And I got to tell you, she might not fool with her husband for real like that if she allows that to go on. Fellas are sitting up here falling for trick bags all over the damn place. As a woman here's like, how dare you sit up here and tell this fella he needs to go get into it with Cat? Well, what the hell does that even look like? What the hell is that even for? Well, he offended me. As men, we're supposed to be letting them know, hey, I have considered your case, and we have adjudicated that there'll be no action on it, or at least not the action you're talking about. Since when did the women become the damn strategists? And the other thing is, with at least you have a bunch of overly emotional males who are out feminizing the females. Will was more animated than his woman was. Will was more emotional than she was. Let me explain. Let me go ahead and remind some of the dumbasses out there. Jason, you're calling them dumbasses. Yeah, because they're acting like dumbasses. Will was the only one. Did Jada crack a tear that night? Let me ask y'all something. Did Jada Smith, I bristle at calling her Smith. I'm like, you is Pinkett all the way. Did she crack a single tear that night? Did she shed a single tear that whole damn evening? About anything. She wasn't the one experiencing these extreme highs or lows. Her husband was. He was the one rearing back in his seat laughing. He was the one getting all angry and physical. He was the one got back to his seat, neck jerking and lip trembling. Like Bushika from the Projects. He was the one got on stage crying and boo-hooing. Over a woman that if he lost it, over a woman who'll be talking about Tupac again in 48 hours. That's the problem I have is fellas out here on the internet talking silly as hell because the females who y'all are, even a bunch of these guys, the females, they were just like, okay, dude, your chick ain't solid, but all right. I'm seeing guys on Twitter making fools of themselves, but they can afford to do it because nobody's going to hold them accountable for being stupid. He's got nothing to lose. So, of course, he can sit up here and say, that's okay. He ain't, first of all, most of them ain't got a woman. And for the ones who do, he ain't got nothing to lose. A man who has built a life for a woman is going to protect that. It takes decades to build resources. It takes minutes. It takes seconds to do something stupid. So what you find out, leadership isn't something that you sit up here and poke it and then it goes running. Leadership tells you what the deal will be. And yes, sometimes the answer may be no. Will would have gotten a lot more respect from Jada. Nobody was expecting him to do that. Nobody was calling on him to do that, but he was overreacting. That was just sheer overreacting to get the approval of a woman who's going to be talking about Tupac again next week. A fella who his over being overly emotional got him killed. Take a look at this. Take a look at the men that the woman is with. Does she bring out the best in them or does she bring out the worst? And I submit to you that if Will's got to have a side piece, yeah, your woman ain't bringing out the best in you if you got to have another chick to play pinch hitter. If you can't rely on her all the way, yeah, she doesn't bring out the best in you. She really doesn't. Thank you for giving us a call. I'm going to take one more caller here. We've been on for over 3 hours. Let me get a caller from area code 443. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from 443 has fallen asleep. Well, we've been on for over 3 hours here tonight. I could stay on for a while longer. I'm not going to do that. Look, my point tonight, I'm glad this occurred because I wanted us to have a conversation about this. I want us to have a conversation where we are discussing about whether or not the men should be protecting someone no matter how she treats you. You're supposed to earn that. You have men sitting up here on the internet talking as if your life doesn't have value, your safety, your freedom doesn't have value. And all that tells me is there's a whole lot of dudes out here who you ain't really built up nothing. You haven't really built up nothing, so it's okay for you to lose everything because you don't have nothing. You need to start seeing it differently. You have value. And the people around you need to treat you like you have value. And if they are completely capricious, look it up. If they're completely whimsical about putting your life in safety in danger, that they would say that we need to put you in harm's way because somebody looked at you funny. Or she thinks, she's not even sure, I think someone looked at me funny. What I'm saying is that's not men leading anymore. At what point do you tell the women here, woman, you sit down. You be quiet. No, it's not that serious. At what point do you tell the man, lady, you're letting your emotions get the better of you? The fellas are out here out hoeing the hose for women who do not respect you, much less admire you. That's the problem. You are 100% all in for people who are not all in for you. And I hope this generation of males hears it differently and starts to take this as a wake-up call. Take this as a wake-up call. Will has a lot more money, but there's a bunch of you right now. You've had your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. You've had them squandered trying to please somebody who wasn't even for you in the first place. You followed her lead with her trying to tell you what it means to be a man. Being a man is not you sit up here and jump up every time she says hop. Will Smith used to be a star. Now he's become an asterisk. Will Smith used to be a celebrity. Now he's a cautionary tale. And to all the other males out there, you might be working a regular job. You are in exactly the same situation, in exactly the same danger, exhibiting the exact same behaviors. All in, willing to risk your everything, bragging to the world about how willfully you'll do so, no matter how she treats you. And just understand, after you've done that, she'll blame you for the consequences. Then you'll be feeling really bad. Or maybe that's evolution taking its course. Maybe that's just evolution taking its course. I want to thank you all for tuning in here tonight to The Business. If you're new here to the program, welcome. We laid the foundation upon which all of these red pill MGTOW high value posers, yeah, he stole that one too. He stole that. I know he stole that too. Well, you heard it here first before they all get to stealing it and screwing it up. Make sure you click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us every time that we're on here. YouTube does have a shadow ban, which is why it's important for you to make sure that you are subscribed. So to everybody listening here tonight, check and make sure you are subscribed. Very, very important. And if you haven't considered joining our Patreon, you're going to want to do that as well also. A lot of exclusive interaction that I had with people over there. I'm going to be doing it here tomorrow around noontime Central. So definitely make sure you show up for that as well. Got a lot I want to cover here tomorrow, not about this. We actually deal with people's in particular issues there. So definitely make sure that you sign up for that as well also. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal or Super Chat. Thank you very much for joining us here for that as well and not tricking it off at the club. We appreciate that. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember.
Hello, Jason. It's 7 a.m. Handle your business, or your business will handle you. Have a blessed day.